He didn't tell me he was moving out.
And this is your girlfriend?
Yes.
5 years tomorrow.
And
I'm just saying, it's 5 years.
and
And the rest of our lives.
you know that?
He's learning.
He's learning. Terrific.
This is Judy Justice. Adam Snyder and Julie Alice are suing their former employee, Trevor McCormick, for breaking his lease, the cost of a phone, as well as a personal loan.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Case number 2031, Snyder Alice versus McCormick.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Snyder, you own a farm,
I do.
and this is your girlfriend.
Yes.
How long has she been your girlfriend?
5 years tomorrow.
You say that as if 5 years tomorrow, and
And I'm just saying, it's 5 years.
5 years tomorrow,
Yeah.
and
And the rest of our lives.
okay, good. You know that?
No, he's learning.
He's learning. Terrific. Okay, this is what I'm gathering from the bare bones of the story. Mr. McCormick was dating an employee of yours.
Correct.
What was that employee's name?
Natasha.
When were you dating the lovely Natasha?
We weren't really dating. We were an acquaintance.
Where was Natasha living?
She was living, when we first met, she was living at a friend's house, and she was working for Adam as an employee at a restaurant.
And when was that? Month and year?
I'd say around September of last year.
September 2021.
Yes.
And?
And we decided to move out because Adam had.
Well, so you were living with Natasha at the friend's house.
Yes.
Where had you been living before?
My mom's.
So you went from mom's house to Natasha and a
Yes.
friend's house.
Yes.
Okay. And then where did you go?
Then we moved into the trailer right next to Adam that he owned.
Who had a discussion with Mr. Snyder about potentially renting the trailer so you would have a
Natasha.
place to live? And what kind of rent were you paying?
I believe it was $800.
And you moved into the trailer when?
Around November.
Of 2021.
Yes.
And you lived in the trailer till when?
About March.
March of 2022.
Yes.
In March, what happened?
Me and Natasha weren't getting along. I just had enough.
There was never a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship.
No.
She was just a friend. Did you know that?
That is not true.
So what did you do?
I asked Adam if I could move into the ranch house. There was nobody living there at the time.
Where were you living?
I live at my home with Julie.
Okay, and there's a ranch house on the farm.
I have a ranch house on a separate piece of property.
Close by to the farm?
Yes, 3 miles.
That was vacant.
Correct.
Okay, so you asked to rent it?
Yes,
Who was going to rent it?
I was.
Just you?
Yes, just me.
How much was the rent?
It was $800.
And this was in March.
Yes.
Prior to March of 2022, what kind of work were you doing?
I was working at a factory
How long did you work there?
about a month.
What month?
March.
Prior to March, where were you working?
On Adam's farm.
From when to when?
I'd say about December until March.
Well, in December to March, you were living in the trailer.
Yes,
Okay. And you were living with the lovely Natasha.
correct.
And Natasha, I assume, was contributing to the rent.
Yes.
And how much were you contributing to the rent? Is not an answer. How much were you contributing to the rent from December to March of
Couple hundred.
2021?
Couple
What?
hundred a month.
That's not an answer. A couple of hundred a month. How much do you pay for rent? $316 a month and 24 cents. How much does it cost to have your garbage picked up? $59.12. Do you understand? Certain things
Yes.
change. What was your electric bill last year? I don't remember. What was your bill last month? I don't remember.
300, ma'am.
You see? But I mean, a couple is two.
Yes.
Who did you pay that to?
Natasha.
Well, I can't tell whether you paid that to Natasha or not. Did you ever discuss rent with Mr. Snyder?
No.
Even in the trailer?
Even in the trailer.
So that was all done through Natasha?
Correct.
Okay. But according to you, you worked someplace in March, but before that you worked on the farm.
Yes.
From when to when? December to March?
Yes.
Beginning, middle, or the end of December?
The middle, the 16th.
Is that about right?
If you want to call
Just a sec-
helping,
helping whatever.
Yes.
December 16th. Okay. And from December 16th, you did whatever work it was on the
Yes.
farm until March.
Yes.
March what?
Till I moved out.
No, March what? Beginning, middle, and
28th.
And what was the rent in the ranch house? The ranch house must have been nicer than the trailer you were living in.
800.
You moved in April?
Yes.
How much money did you give him?
$900.
Some was to go towards security?
I was in between jobs, and that's what I had. So we made an agreement that I'd pay $900 the week of, and then so on and so on. I don't
What's
have
the so on and so on?
I don't have the copy of the lease. He never gave me it.
Did you sign a lease?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
I have it right here. In the back of the contract, you'll see where we wrote down he would pay $900
Just a second.
on the 8th.
Judy reviews a document.
Okay, so the security deposit was supposed to be $1,200. You paid $8.
Paid $9.
The security deposit was $12, and you paid $9 of security deposit?
I paid $9 total, ma'am.
Well, how many months did you live there?
Not even one.
When did you move out?
April 24th, I moved out.
Is that correct?
That's close, yes.
Okay.
I don't know exactly when he moved out because he didn't tell me he was moving out. He just locked the door.
Okay.
And wouldn't
but it was in
return
April.
messages.
Okay. And you had $900.
He paid $900,
And the rent on the property was supposed to be
$800 per month.
$800 monthly.
Yes,
So right now, you've been paid for the month that he lived there.
correct.
Prior to his moving in there, who was living there?
Nobody.
So it wasn't rented.
Nope.
In what year was it last rented?
2021.
When?
Oh, no, it was in February. We did an eviction on it.
So somebody lived there and didn't pay rent.
Correct.
Is that the first person who came in that didn't pay rent?
Definitely not.
Definitely not. Yeah, it's
And
lousy
Trevor
to
was
be a
there, and
landlord.
he helped us do the
Yeah.
eviction on that,
It's-
so he knew how it worked. Trevor was there. He helped us do the eviction because we had to have court officers there
To get him out because they weren't paying rent.
So he knows how it works.
Well, he may know how it works, but he did, in fact, give you $900,
He did.
and he lived there for less than a month.
That's right.
So that's sort of square. I know you'd like him to be responsible for his lease, but you have your house back. Now, tell me about this phone that you say he owes you for. By the way,
Okay.
where's your phone?
I have my phone that I paid for. Their phone that I put a down payment for is at my house.
Why?
I didn't know I had to bring it.
Well, it was just purchased within the last year.
Yeah.
Why do you have two phones? You have no
Because,
job. Why do you have two phones?
I have a job.
Oh, good.
I bought this outright because he shut the other phone off.
Oh, well, where is the phone?
The phone's at my house.
What kind of phone is
It's
it?
an iPhone 13.
You want it back?
I'd like him to just pay for it like the agreement was, but
He gets back his phone.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Even though I paid
just
it
a
down
second. Where do you
payment.
live? Where do you live?
I live in Highland.
Where is that?
It's by Detroit, Michigan.
Who else lives at home?
My girlfriend,
What's her name?
Ariel,
Where is she?
she is currently working right now.
Does she know where the phone is?
Yes.
Okay. They're going to give you an envelope in the clerk's office back here. You're going to tell Ariel to put his phone carefully packed and mail it to him. FedEx, UPS, the fastest way it will get there. Then you get your phone back. Go. What's next?
I have text messages here from Trevor. This will show where, when he was dating Natasha, they had agreed that they would pay for their phones up front so that I would put them on my business plan. I told them I would only do that if they paid for the phones up front, because when I took Trevor to Verizon, I said, if they don't pay for their phone bill, as long as they've paid for these phones in full, I can shut them off and it will cost my business no money, correct? And the lady said, that is right. I said, okay, then we can do it. So we added them to the bill, to the business plan. And here, where I text him, I said, you and Natasha told me you were paying for the phone in cash. That's why I allowed you on my business plan. Now I found out that you did not pay for the phones up front, because when we were in there, he and Natasha had the cash.
Did you assure Mr. Snyder that you were going to pay for the phone?
I had no idea I was even going to get a phone until Natasha said, go with Adam and go pick up our phones. That's all I heard, and that's what I did.
Well,
I didn't know
can't
about
say
the
that to me
cash.
because the lovely Natasha isn't here either. Sir, you're going to get your phone back. Is it one phone or more?
We recovered the second one from
Well, you're going to recover this one too. You recovered the second one.
Yeah.
Second one was Natasha's?
Correct.
Great, we're going to recover this one too. What's next? Changing lock fees, and you want a personal loan. Okay. So once he moved out, according to you, he moved out totally, and you didn't even know he moved out, so I don't know why the locks were changed.
The lock did not need changed. I did tell the court that we were going to have to change the locks because the key was missing. I didn't know that while I was away on storm, Julie had gone in to check and make sure the water wasn't running, and she found the key on the table. And that is
Okay,
what Trevor
great.
said.
So we're going to eliminate that. And now we're going to go to the small loan that you say that you made to the defendant.
So Natasha came over, guys. Like he said, she worked at.
Don't tell me what Natasha asked you. That's all hearsay. I need to know what conversations you had with the defendant.
Okay, but she came over.
But you can't tell me what she said, you see.
Okay. So
And
anyway,
if you made a
I
contract,
gave-
if you made a contract with Natasha for a loan of money, even if it went for his benefit, do you understand?
Okay.
Even if it went for his benefit, he's not responsible. If Natasha says, I want you to give, what's your first name?
Trevor.
Trevor, a loan to fix his car, and you say, okay, you need somebody to pay you back. Natasha has to say, I'll pay you back. However, you can't tell me that.
Caption coming up.
I was not in the house at the time when they were discussing that.
Well, you said you went into the house.
I came to pick Natasha up.
I don't want you to make yourself appear any more stupid. Do you understand? Try not to do that.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Adam, Julie, and Trevor.
Adam Snyder and Julie Alice claim their former employee, Trevor McCormick, owes for the cost of a phone and a personal loan. Trevor is countersuing for unpaid wages.
Now, did you ever have a conversation with Trevor about money?
I do. I have a text message telling him.
No, tell me, not a text message.
The conversation was not verbal.
It was by text message.
Correct.
Okay, so I'd like to see text message from him.
Yep. This has from Trevor. This is his number.
Okay, may I see it, please?
Julie hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
He did pay me $100 in cash.
Okay, so it's clear from this text exchange, sir, that you borrowed a certain amount of money from the plaintiff.
I did not borrow Natasha.
Yes, well, it acknowledges it here because you say, I start that job on the 14th. I will pay you back out of my first check. It was for me, and I will pay it. That's what you wrote. Do you understand? Do you want to look at it?
No.
You don't want to look at it. You're not questioning me. So it's clear from this that you borrowed money from Miss Ailes.
I personally did not. I didn't even know what was going on.
Who wrote this? I start that job on the 14th.
That was me.
Well, then, that's in response to her text message to you that says, hello, Trevor. I heard you were moving out and I need that paid by the end of the month. I have been very patient as no attempt has been made on this. Thank you. And you immediately wrote back to her and said, I start that job on the 14th and I will pay you out of my first paycheck. That's what you said to her.
Yes, ma'am.
You mean, yes, ma'am. Now, I'm going to get back and ask you the question I think I asked before. What was the loan for?
I broke down in Oklahoma
And what month and year was that?
about September of last year.
September of 2021 is just about when you started dating Natasha.
Correct.
Okay, so your car broke down in Oklahoma. And?
And it had to get fixed.
And?
So I rode the Greyhound bus back up to Michigan and waited until my car got fixed, which took months.
I'm asking you, what was the loan for?
To go back down and get my car.
So it was $670 that you borrowed from her, and I want to know how it was that you got the money.
I came in to Julie's house, and Natasha said, you're going to Oklahoma to pick up your car, because I didn't have any money right then and there, but I wasn't going to ask anybody.
Just a second. I don't care what you were going to do, what you didn't do, what you thought about doing. You went into the house that the plaintiffs share. Mm-hmm. Not uh-huh. Uh-huh is not an answer. The answer is yes. The lovely Natasha was there.
Yes.
With Julie.
Yes.
What did you say and what did Julie say to you? Just Julie.
Julie didn't really say anything. She said, don't tell Adam about the money.
Oh, so she said she would give you money.
Yes.
And she knew exactly how much you needed.
Yes.
Did you tell her that?
No.
Okay. When she gave you the money, did she give it to you in check or cash?
She didn't give me no money. She gave Natasha the money.
Okay. How much was it?
$700, around there.
And after it was given to you by Natasha, but you were all in the same room together.
I was not in the house at the time when they were discussing that.
Well, you said you went into the house.
I came to pick Natasha up. Yes.
I don't want you to make yourself appear any more stupid. Do you understand? Try not to do that. You were in the house with Julie and Natasha at some point, and at some point, money was discussed.
No.
Was money discussed in front of him?
No, it was not.
Okay. So your loan was not with him. Do you understand?
Yes.
Unless he ratifies the loan subsequently. Is that correct?
Correct.
This is from my person who just studied for the bar, and I have to go back in my mind 50 years. If my memory is correct, if you don't make a loan directly with someone, they cannot be obligated to repay that money. However, if they subsequently get use of that money and subsequently agree to repay you, they have ratified that contract.
Correct. You just have to decide if that's a ratification.
Yeah. What would be your take on that? Take a look at it very carefully. What would be your take?
It was for me. I will pay it. Seems pretty close to textbook ratification.
Yeah, I would say so. I start a job on the 14th. I will pay you back out of my first paycheck.
I just wanted to keep the peace because she was down my throat.
This woman was down your throat?
Yes.
She may have been annoyed, very annoyed, but she wasn't down your throat. She was the one who volunteered to give you money in your time of need. How could she be down your throat? Okay. So far you paid her back $100. Is that what he paid you
Correct.
back? So he owes you $600. Okay. So far, Mr. Snyder, I'm not with you on it, on the rent.
Okay.
I'm not with you on the lock change fees. I am with you on the phone, which you're going to get back. He's going to get that back within 5 days. Otherwise,
Some
he's going to
more
have
receipts
difficulty.
here from the day that he did the phone purchases. Instead of paying for the phones up front, he also added a bunch of other cordless phone chargers and everything else to the bill. And
How much were the extras?
Totally, there's 2,000.
No. I don't want them total. Total, you're going to get the phone back. What were the extras that he charged onto the phone?
There is a $41.99.
$41.99.
There is a $20.99.
Okay. You know that I went to 7 years of postgraduate school for this. Keep going.
$29.99.
7 years, they were very hard years. I also took the bar exam. Keep going. $29.99.
$17.99
Oh, it's getting worse. Not better for you, Mr. Snyder.
and $11.99.
Worse, a lot worse.
$122.95.
Okay. You have a counterclaim.
Yes, ma'am.
For what?
Working on the farm,
Okay. Tell me about that. From when to when did you work on the farm?
November to the end of March.
And what were you doing between November and March?
I was feeding cattle when Adam was on storm, watering them.
To March
taking
what? The
after
end of
him.
March?
Yes, right.
I thought you worked at a factory.
I did both.
Well, you can't do both. You work at a factory. I asked you if you had a job. You said, I work at a factory.
I did do both.
Well, now I need the name of the factory and find out what your shift was.
I was,
And you worked during the day.
yes.
From when to when?
From
Time.
6 to 6.
Well,
I had,
just a second. Mr. McCormick, if you work from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., it is not possible to work a full-time job for the plaintiff as well.
I had a schedule of three on, 2 off.
Okay. We're making it up as we're going along.
Trevor smirks. Caption coming up.
Did you have a financial arrangement with him for putting out these bales of hay?
We never did. Although he did get paid for everything he did until the last day that he worked for me, where we were tearing apart a building.
That's
Oh,
incorrect.
just don't speak.
Judy raises her eyebrows at Trevor. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Adam, Julie, and Trevor.
Adam Snyder and Julie Alice have accused their former employee, Trevor McCormick, of refusing to pay the cost of a phone and the balance of a loan. Trevor claims he was not paid for the work he did on their farm.
Now, did he work for you?
It would be very minimal. He would put hay bales out, which would take 10
He would
minutes.
put what?
Hay bales out for the cattle.
Hay bales.
Yes.
At approximately what time of day? Because I'm not getting...
He could come and do it when he got home from work.
Okay. And did you have a financial arrangement with him for putting out these bales of hay?
We never did.
Okay. Is there any reason why you never did?
Because he didn't do it very often, and he said he was just happy to help, although he did get paid for everything he did until the last day that he worked for me, where we were tearing apart a building.
So he got paid when he worked for you?
He did.
That's
Oh,
incorrect.
just don't speak. From when to when?
When he helped me, it was very minimal. It would be...
No, I'm not
Yes,
talking about the hay. You said he did, in fact, work for me.
He did.
I want to know, but not on the farm. He worked someplace else.
He helped on another piece of farmland that I have.
Okay.
Where a barn had fallen down. We were tearing the steel off, and he worked 3 hours that morning.
3 hours what morning?
The last day that he was there, it would have been
So that's in March.
early, I would say the second week of March.
Okay. When was the first time he worked there?
I would say probably in January.
And he was working at this other plant from 6 to 6 in March,
Correct.
according to him. So he did some work for you in the first month, which was January.
Yeah, if he helped me, it might be 1 day a week.
Fine, I just want to know if he got paid for it. That's what he's...
Yes, he
We
did.
can't do May something. How much did you pay him?
It would depend on how much he worked. One day I gave him $300 for helping me for a day and a half on another demolition job I did.
And you paid him in cash?
Correct.
Okay.
That was for the demolition job. That wasn't for the farm.
It doesn't make any difference. Sir, if you have a full-time job and you're working part-time someplace else and you say he paid you,
He did not pay me.
well, you say he didn't pay you for the farm. What he's saying is he had a job with me. He was a demolition job for which he got paid, which you do not deny. Is that right?
I'm not.
You just said that's not what I asked you. He paid you for the job that you did part-time for him
Yes,
in
he paid me for
demolition.
that job, yes.
So that's a yes.
Yes.
And what you're suing him for is allegedly money that he owes you for working on the farm during a period that does include March when you were working full-time someplace else
Correct.
and working for him
Yes.
and doing this work at the site in March, the first 2 weeks in March, because you got some money for that.
Correct.
So now you have, according to you, 3 jobs. 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
First of all, you had no fixed financial arrangement with him at the farm.
Correct. He said he'd pay me what he can.
That is not a contract. Okay, but let's move forward with that. Tell me what your chores were at the farm.
I would go feed them hay,
Just feed who hay?
the cows.
Okay, how many cows do you have?
130.
Anybody else work on the farm or just him?
Just me mainly, and he would help when I was gone.
Okay, and in order to keep these animals alive, they have to be fed hay.
Correct.
For how many months did you feed them hay?
3.
Once a day?
Yes.
And what time would you do this?
Usually in the morning.
Before you went to work?
Yes.
That had to be 5 o'clock in the morning. You went to work at 6 o'clock. You had a shift, according to you, from 6 to 6.
Yes.
Okay, so how long did this take you in the morning when you had a full-time job?
Sometimes,
Not sometimes. I want you to tell me how long it took you.
average about an hour and a half a day.
So let's say it took you an hour a day. And how many days did you do it?
I was with him every day before I got the job. I would go with him every day.
I don't care.
Okay.
For the 3 months, I'm asking you how many days you did it.
45.
That be right? In the 3 months, maybe 45 days? How many days did he
No.
put out hay?
If Trevor fed the cattle 12 days the whole time by himself, I'd be surprised.
And I helped him because I was there.
You did not help me when
Just
he
a
was
second.
gone.
Yes.
You helped him with the bales
Yes,
of
I
hay?
helped him because we also had another hired hand that would help me too. So I was rotating between both of them.
Okay, so let's say he worked 20 hours. Did you pay him any extra money for this work?
No, not for feeding cattle.
Not feeding cattle. And you didn't have any arrangement with him whereby he would work on the farm and he would get something off his rent?
No.
Okay, so he has to be paid for that. Sarah Rose, would you look up and see if there's a minimum wage in Michigan? What's the federal minimum wage? I don't know anymore.
$15.
So the minimum wage is now $15 an hour. That's federal.
Yes, ma'am.
15 times 20.
$300.
Okay, so, Mr. Snyder, let's start with you. You are going to get your phone back within 5 days. On your cross-claim against Mr. Snyder, I am awarding you $300 on your counterclaim. That is for the work that you did on the farm. However, we are holding that check until he gets his phone back in good condition.
Yes.
Do you understand? Otherwise, you forfeit that money
Yes, ma'am.
to him. Do you understand?
Yes.
With regard to the co-plaintiff, I find that you did, in fact, take a loan from her, that you initially did it through a third party, but that you ratified the fact that you would make payments on the loan by 2 things. First, by acknowledging it in writing, and second, by making a payment. So I'm awarding you $600 on your claim. Those are the orders of the court. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Trevor, then Adam and Julie.
I think they're scam artists.
We came here to try to teach him a lesson that when he enters into contract with somebody, the contract is a contract.
They're greedy. They want money. They need money.
For being greedy, we did a lot to help this guy out.
By doing pretty much anything they ask.
Well, we've decided we're not helping people out anymore. They're on their own.
Sarah and Judy.
It's funny because if he didn't send those text messages ratifying the contract that someone else had made on his behalf, he could have gotten away
That's
without any responsibility. But when someone makes a agreement on your behalf and you then later either pay for it or admit responsibility that you know you owe it, then you've ratified it and you're held to that, even if you didn't make the initial agreement.
See, and then the right thing happened.
Yeah, it
And
did.
the right thing happened.
It did.
So that's good. That's
Taking
all good.
accountability.
Yeah.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv.
Credits, audio description by description.
You're going through his phone, you find he's making a date. There is an argument.
Because I did not think that we were ever going to break up.
The police were called, and you told the police that he didn't live there. I think that you were really angry. You have to stop being angry. It's over.
This is Judy Justice. Raheem Henry is suing his ex-girlfriend, Erica Christian, for personal property and filing a false restraining order.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Kevin.
Case 2052, Henry versus Christine.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Henry, what you're doing is suing the defendant with whom you had a relationship for a period of time for the return of property that you had in an apartment that you once shared, and for filing a false restraining order, a false police report.
Yes, Your Honor.
The defendant says that you never lived with her, that you damaged her front door, and you filed a restraining order against her that was false. So, Miss Christian, I think I'm going to start with you.
Yes, ma'am.
According to the papers that were filed, you and Mr. Henry did, in fact, live together for a period of time up until...
October 9th.
Shh! Up until October 9th of 1921.
Yes, Your Honor.
Of 2021, 1921, hardly almost the year of my birth.
Yes, ma'am.
2021, when he left.
Yeah, without a no.
Just a second, October of 2021. Then the information that I have contained in these papers indicate that he sort of came begging back, and that was in February.
Yes, ma'am.
Of 2022, and you took him back.
Yes, ma'am.
And he was living with you. You were living in the same apartment from February of 2022 until what you say in your answer is June of 2022, when for some reason you were looking through his phone. Now, you were looking through his phone because he was acting weird or whatever.
Yes.
That's June of 2022. You understand where I'm going, Miss Christian, don't you? Of course you do. So from February of 2022, February, March, April, May, for 4.5 months, Mr. Henry and you occupied the same residence.
No, ma'am.
Your residence.
No, ma'am.
Well, that's what you say.
No, ma'am.
Oh.
He lived in his own apartment in Merritt Island. When we got back together.
Here we go. On February 15th, 2022, he contacted me and we got back together. He had his own place and never lived with me again. He would stay over occasionally and bring a few things to make himself comfortable. On June 21st, I went through his phone because he was acting weird. Where was he when you went through his phone?
He was asleep.
He was asleep where?
In my bed.
Okay. In the apartment?
Yes, I work at 6 o'clock.
In the apartment?
Yes, ma'am.
Of course, yes, ma'am. And I saw that he was setting up a date with the mother of his child.
Yes, ma'am.
I got upset, dropped off my son, and then came back home while he was packing. He told me he was taking my couch, TV, dresser, dining table, and everything in my apartment. So my next question to you is, who paid for the couch?
Me.
I'd like to see a receipt.
I don't have it.
Who paid for the couch?
It was a couple years ago.
Shh.
Sorry.
My brother, Adonis Glover, he's the one that gave me the furniture.
Just a second.
He gave me the couch, the love seat, the lamp, you know, a few other things listed on that document.
When did he give them to you?
He gave it to me before me and Miss Christian moved in the first apartment.
So let's go back. Where was the first place that you lived with the defendant?
Cocoa, Florida.
Okay. From when to when?
From 2020 October to February, March 2021, because that's when her lease was up.
Were you both on the lease in that apartment?
No, I wasn't on that lease.
Just you?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's the first place that you lived together?
Yes.
And why did you leave that place, Mr. Henry?
She was relocating to Titusville. I helped her move into it, and I moved in as well.
Does that sound familiar to you?
have...
Be very careful what you say to me, because when I say I read the papers and I have my own preconceived ideas of what this case is about based upon 50 years worth of experience, be very careful what you say to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Does that sound familiar to you?
No, ma'am, he is lying.
He is lying about what?
Adonis did not give him that furniture. Furniture was given to me, never was given
Just a second. So we're not talking about the furniture now. We're talking about when you lived together.
Okay.
You first lived someplace together and then moved into another place.
Yes, ma'am.
So that sounds familiar. Am I correct that this is all about furniture?
No.
Mr. Henry, value of property. She's not paying you for property, for furniture that was given to you that was secondhand. You have to understand that. If I find that it's your furniture, you're going to go and get it.
Yes, that's what I was hoping.
Just a second. You're going to go and get it.
Yes.
If you can establish to me that it's your furniture, you can keep it. You're not a married couple. I have a couple of issues with some things that I think that you did, because I actually think that you were together and he was packing his things. But then the police were called and you told the police that he didn't live there.
Erica takes a breath.
Isn't that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Because
And just a second. And that wasn't true.
it is true.
Tell me where he was living.
He was living in Merritt Island. Whenever we broke up in October, from October to February, we broke up. He reached out to me the day after Valentine's Day. We started talking. He was buying me gifts to try to get back in my good graces. He was doing all this extra stuff to try to get back in my good graces. We got back together. He never did move back in with me. He always did live in his apartment in Merritt Island. I work at 6 o'clock in the morning till 12 p.m. Sometimes whenever I didn't have a babysitter, he doesn't have a job, he would watch my son. That's why he had a key, that's why he had to spend the night bag and all of that. He would bring over his clothes, shoes, PlayStation, anything to make himself comfortable to stay the night. And whenever the police were called, they made him collect all of those belongings and leave. They escorted him off the property, told him that he was not allowed back. They told me that
Well, that's because if that's what's happened, that's because they believe you, which I don't.
Okay. They definitely...
That's because they believe you and I don't, because if he was trying to get back in your graces and he was living in his own space and you weren't back together again, why in the world were you going through his phone? If you were just a casual gal, and a casual gal doesn't let him stay with her son because, well, he was available and he wasn't working, so he watched my son and he stayed over. That all sounds like a whole lot of Who Shot John. And it was convenient for you to be able to say he doesn't live here. So all I want to know, Miss Christian, is this case is mostly about furniture, used furniture.
I also have a TV there.
Do you have the receipt for it?
Yes, I have a title.
I'd like to see it. You have a TV in the house that belongs to him?
So the TV was...
Just a second. That's either yes or no.
No, the TV does not belong to him.
Who does it belong to?
The TV was a gift from him to me that I ended up paying off because he told me that when he bought it, that it was bought cash. Whenever months later, I paid the TV off.
No, you didn't.
Just a shh. First, you're going to show me that you paid it off. I assume you have proof that you paid it
I
off?
paid him cash for it because I did not think that we were ever going to break up.
Well, you never thought you were going to break up. I thought he didn't live with you.
Like...
I thought he didn't live with you. You don't
didn't.
buy TV for somebody that you don't live with, that you're not going to watch all the time.
Eventually thought we were going to move into a house together, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
Oh, don't tell me what you thought.
The TV that was bought was before I even...
Okay.
It had nothing
That's
to
a
do-
PlayStation and
That's still
Nintendo.
property that's still at the apartment.
Okay. These are things that you say are yours,
Yes.
that you bought and paid for.
Yes.
Okay. All of these receipts.
All of it. No help.
Okay, so let's go beyond the point of now you're back together again, because that's what I believe. He's in bed, you're going through his phone, you find he's making a date with the mother of his child, you get annoyed, you take your son to another location because you know that there's going to be an argument. You come back, there is an argument.
Yes.
He wants to take stuff, whatever. Police are called. You tell the police he doesn't live there, they escort him out. He wants his property now. You're not married people. Whoever paid for the property or whoever was the recipient of a gift for the property owns the property. That's simple. You know, that's what the law is.
Caption coming up.
What you want me to believe that a police officer saw him kick down your door, go into your apartment, take property, and did nothing. That's what you want me to believe.
Erica nods. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Raheem and Erica.
Raheem Henry claims his ex-girlfriend, Erica Christian, owes for personal property. Erica is countersuing for door damages and stolen property.
Okay, he has a Nintendo, a PlayStation, Sony.
Your Honor, he collected those whenever
Just a second. A queen mattress and foundation. And we have May of 2022. This is a TV. an LED TV.
That was my birthday present.
Nah.
What?
Okay, so I have titles to these things. You have titles or receipts for any of these things?
I don't have receipts for any of those things. He grabbed his PlayStation, his Switch, and everything whenever he left. The only thing that is in my apartment is the TV that he bought me for my birthday. May is my birthday. May 7th is my birthday. That was my birthday present that he bought for me.
Did you take your Nintendo?
No.
Did
I haven't had. Recently, that was something different. My storage unit was just broken into. This is why I don't have original documents. And she stole more of my property.
I don't know that. Did you file a police report?
Yes, ma'am. I
Okay. Did they ever find any of the property?
No,
Perhaps?
not right now.
Okay. The couch, whatever other furniture is there, is how old? I mean, it used to be used furniture, so it was.
Yeah, my brother Adonis got it when he paid for it. It was like a kind of like a bundle deal for the apartment, like a lot of furnishing, and I ended up giving him some money for looking out.
That was 2-3 years ago?
Yeah.
And it was used furniture at the time?
Yeah. It wasn't nothing like brand new out of the seal.
How much did you pay for the TV?
I got taxed when I was like at 15, almost to $2,000, because it's a 60-inch smart TV.
Okay. So what is it that you want, is my question.
I want a court order to go get the rest of my property.
I have to know what the rest of your property is. You have the
Yes.
TV.
The TV, I have asthma medication, I have plantar
She doesn't.
fasciitis.
I want to tell you something. She threw out your asthma medication.
I believe so, too.
She threw out your asthma medication.
Yeah.
What else?
I have crutches. I have.
You have what?
Crutches and certain things. I have
You don't.
PlayStation.
Look, you don't need crutches. And the PlayStation you said was in the storage unit.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not interested in the storage unit. So far, I have a TV. What else?
My mattress, my bed, my
Yeah, you don't
stuff
want
that
that.
I had
You don't
from the
want that.
apartment.
You don't want a mattress. Are you back with
No.
this lady now?
No.
Where are you living?
I've been living on the streets. I've been living out of my car ever since this been happening.
Where are you going to put a mattress?
I have a storage unit that I was going to just collect. I'm pretty much just trying to salvage what I can because I have things that's sentimental, stuff from my grandmother passing away, things that I really can't put a price tag on. I just want to be able to get a court order to just get the rest of my belongings.
I don't know what the
leaving.
rest of. I have a TV. You have no place to put a mattress that's a couple of years old. So you really don't need that. I mean, I can give you an order to get your mattress, but what are you going to do with it? It's just going to cost you to go get it and to store it. So you really don't need it.
I don't need it, but I would like to still get all of my property back. Like the stuff that I paid for because I worked hard. I furnished
I'm giving
my
you
apartment.
your TV back. You're going to get the TV. I haven't figured out what else it is that you really want to make this whole thing worthwhile. I'm not giving you any money. Do you want the mattress back? You paid for it. You're entitled to it back. I can give you an order for the mattress and the TV.
Okay, and I also have electronics, like from games to controllers, just so much things that add
TV,
up.
mattress, box spring. He's going to come and get it with a marshal, but he's coming to get it within 5 days from today.
So what if I pull up my bank statements to show that I gave him cash around the same time that whenever it was pulled up and everything? Because I did give him cash for the TV, for the bed, for actually more than he ever even put into it.
Let me explain something to you. Unless you have a check made out to him, I have a problem with somebody who lies to the police.
Ma'am,
I do. I have trouble with somebody who got very angry because her boyfriend, who was living there, watching her son, brought a TV, bought a mattress, bought a box spring, bought all of those things, and then you got annoyed that he was involved again with his child's mother. You dropped off your son someplace else to come back to have a fight with him. You did have an argument with him. Police were called. You said to the police, he doesn't live here.
Your Honor, he moved out.
He doesn't live here. That's what's here.
Your Honor, I never moved out.
He moved out in
We had a whole
October.
business together.
No, we
were
do not. That business
creating.
is in my name, and I have the receipts to that, too.
You have to understand something. I know what happened. I don't believe you.
Ma'am, I'm
you
telling
have
you
to.
the truth.
No, you're not. You're not telling me the truth. That when the police came, you said, he doesn't live here.
Yes.
He doesn't live here. Put him outside.
He took all of his belongings.
Did he take his...
October-
Oh, no.
May I finish? He took all of his belongings on October 9th. Whenever he left, without a call, without a text message, without anything, he broke up with me and left. He got back in contact with me in February. Mind you, we never lived together after that.
He was just staying over to watch your son when you got angry in June.
Whenever
It was June. It was June, 4.5 months later.
Which he would go back to his apartment. He would come. He never stayed more than a couple of nights consecutively.
Okay. He's coming to get his TV. He's coming to get his mattress and box spring.
Can we
You have a
talk about
counterclaim.
my counterclaim?
You have a counterclaim for damage to the front door.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? Damage to the front door.
Kicked my front door down.
Okay. When did he do that?
The day after he was police escorted, they told him not to come back, and the next day he came back and kicked my door down right in front of the police officers.
So he came back with a police officer.
And kicked my door down.
Just a second. He came back with a police officer, and the police officer was there when he broke into your apartment.
Yes, and they were going to take him.
No, tell me what they were going to do. And they did nothing.
Well, they trespassed him from my apartment complex.
I'm asking you, what you're telling me is, madam, which is why I have problems with you right from the get-go. What you're telling me now is he came back to get his property. The next day,
He didn't come back
with a police officer.
Yes.
And what you're telling me, a police officer, and what, you live in Florida?
Yes.
What you want me to believe that a police officer saw him kick down your door, go into your apartment, take property, and did nothing. That's what you want me to believe.
He didn't not do anything. He was completely confused on who actually lived there.
You're telling me a police officer was confused.
I'm telling you the truth. They were very confused on
police
who
officer
actually
was
lived
my
there.
Just a
escort.
second.
They were trying to figure out if it was my apartment, his apartment. I had to go get my property manager, bring my lease that only had my name on it.
You
all
don't
of this
understand. The last place you lived with him full-time, your name was on the lease too. Only yours.
stuff. Correct.
And you lived together. So now you took his lease again, just in your name, and said, he's not on the lease, he doesn't live here.
We broke up though. And
Okay. All right. He's coming to get his
left.
TV. He's coming to get his mattress.
Miss.
Okay.
And I would
have
like to see
my
a police
iPad,
report.
my
I would like to.
Chromebook.
I also
were
have an
stolen.
iPad.
Just a
back.
second.
Okay.
You're done. You're going to get your TV, your mattress, and your box spring.
Caption coming up.
Unless you have some sort of a police report for me, I don't believe you. I think that you were really angry and you were dishonest with the police and you felt that you were being taken advantage of.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Raheem and Erica.
Raheem Henry has accused his ex-girlfriend, Erica Christian, of keeping his personal property. Erica claims he broke through her door and stole her belongings.
Now,
Yes, ma'am. I have my Chromebook, my iPad, my office supplies, things that were stolen from my company that whenever he kicked my door down and took things out of my apartment that day.
okay, now let's get to the company. What kind of work were you involved with when you and the defendant lived together, Mr. Henry?
I did all the graphic design. I made the business cards.
Just a second. Were you involved in graphic design?
Yes. I actually went,
Just a second. Together.
no, it was mainly me.
And you did this over a computer, over a laptop?
Over a tablet, over my iPad.
So the business supplies that she's going to tell me about were for the graphic design business?
Yes, some
You
of the
said-
supplies, but I never stole anything. I just had an iPad that I worked on, and I did graphic design on that was mine. I gave her cash for it. She found it on Amazon for me for a good deal. I was able to draw on it. She's never had access to it. It's always been my Apple ID on it.
Where is it?
I don't know. The day when I got escorted out, she came out of the apartment. I was going in to get the rest of my belongings, and she was saying, "I can't find my iPad. You have it." And I right then and there, I knew she found it and she took it and hid it. So the officer let me go inside to get my belongings. I looked in the closet where I had it wrapped up, gone. I walked outside and was like, "Erica, where's my iPad? I paid for that. I do work on it. That is mine." She said, "I don't know. It's gone. You must have it." Had this whole sob story about it. So still to this day, I have no idea.
Okay. What else?
My iPad that he stole the day that he broke into my apartment, my Chromebook that he stole the day that he broke into
Your what?
my Chromebook, my laptop.
What else?
I have my printer that he stole. It's all right here, 600. Do you want me to just pass it to you?
Did you take a printer?
I wasn't
Shut
able,
up!
I'm so sorry.
I wasn't able to leave with anything because they made me have to go through a civil suit because she started claiming stuff and saying it was hers and it wasn't mine. So the officer didn't
want to
even let
know-
me go back inside the apartment.
I want to know when you went in the presence of a police officer, whether you pushed down the door, kicked down the door or not. Unless I have a police report, I don't actually believe that a police
He
officer...
was my escort. I
Just a
actually
second.
met him.
Did you take any electronics with you when you left?
I didn't leave with anything.
These are text
Okay,
messages
just
and stuff.
don't give me a whole bunch of papers. What I'd like to see is a police report or any other documentation that he took anything the day after you had him evicted from the apartment where he was living.
She didn't even have me evicted.
I have the receipts of the stuff that he stole.
He said he didn't take anything. He said the police officer was there, wouldn't let him take a printer. I mean, those are heavy electronics.
Yeah.
And that was the only other time he was in the apartment.
He also checked my car.
No, he didn't.
Unless you have some sort of a police report for me, Miss Christian, I don't believe you. I think that you were really angry. I think that you were really angry because he left in October. You took him back in February. You found out that he was not being straight up front with you, and you were dishonest with the police, which is all part of being angry and felt that you were being taken advantage of. According to you, you was together so much so that he bought you a television set a month before you threw him out for your birthday that cost thousands of dollars. That's what you just told me.
Ma'am, he bought that TV in February for me for an early birthday present. He bought it for an early birthday present and told
He's
me...
coming to get, listen to me, he's coming to get his TV, he's coming to get his box spring, he's coming to get his mattress. It's a court order. It's a court order with a marshal in 5 days from today. Do you understand?
I also have
5 days from
my
today.
countersuit, my
Yeah.
false police reports, the false injunction, everything that he did.
I have to tell you something. The same way that I'm not entertaining because it's over, this fib that you told to the police, which caused him to be...
Your Honor.
Don't interrupt me. I'm not entertaining. You filed restraining orders against each other?
She filed.
Just a second. You filed restraining orders against each other. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a restraining order against her?
Yes, but it was dismissed.
I said, do you have one currently? The answer is no.
No.
Do you have a restraining order against him?
No, ma'am.
Ah, good. It's exactly what I thought. Because neither one of you have to say goodbye. You have to stop being angry, but you have to give him back his property.
I only wanted the restraining.
TV, mattress, box spring, 5 days from today. Counterclaims dismissed. We're finished with this case. Thank you very much.
This court is adjourned.
Erica, then Raheem.
I think that it was unfair.
I'm pretty much just happy it's all over.
Broke up with me without even a text message, a phone call, nothing.
She just took it and ran with it, and she decided she was going to take matters into her own hands and be spiteful.
Very single. No more relationships for a while.
It's definitely time to move forward, move past it.
The good one is out there, but I have not found him yet.
It's just nice that at least it's over. It's a weight lifted off my shoulders.
Judy and Sarah.
I sort of felt sorry for him. He probably deserved some of it. But you can't lie to the police.
I think she was being vindictive by saying he doesn't live here. He doesn't live here. He sort of kind of lives here if you're being truthful. But it's always a good idea to have your name on the lease if you can, because that's all the officer has to look at in a squabble like what happened between them.
Yeah, it's almost between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
If your name is not on the lease, you're not responsible for the rent.
Yep.
And I've usually suggested that when you're living together, you don't have both people's name on the lease, because in the event that you separate, who's going to stay in the apartment? And if you're the one who leaves, your former partner may say to you, don't worry, you leave, I'll take over the rent. But if they don't, you're still on the hook with the landlord. So
there's pros and cons to both.
But it's an exit strategy.
Yeah.
And people have to be smart enough. You see, he had an exit strategy. His name wasn't on the lease.
Yeah.
But then he needed it.
Caught.
But I think she was being dishonest. And I think his brother did, in fact, give him some old furniture. Who cares about that? It's from decades ago.
You only stay a few nights. You're not bringing your furniture.
Your couch, your TV, yeah. Anyway, they just have to get over it and move on.
Put a period.
Now,
Move
put a
on.
period. Now he has his TV and he has his mattress if he wants it.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv.
You met on an online dating app.
Yeah, the swindling hadn't started yet.
She got your credit card.
I paid emotionally.
No. You are so lucky that you got off so cheap.
This is Judy Justice suing his ex-girlfriend, Gigi Strackman, for a plane ticket, credit card charges, and a stolen cat.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judy enters.
Have a seat, everyone.
Kevin approaches.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2016, Pajaro versus Stratman.
Mr. Perari, it is your claim that the defendant, who lived with you for a brief period of time, owes you money for a plane ticket and for her unauthorized use of your credit card.
That's correct.
I don't know what the defense is to this, except that I think her defense is that you were just stupid and she took advantage of you. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm actually trying to figure it out. But you met the defendant, according to you, on an online dating app and started a conversation with her on what date?
So we met in March 2020 on a dating app for LGBTQ people. We started dating in March 2020. 4 months later, she moved in with me, which I know is not smart, but...
July?
Yes, in July 2020.
And where had she been living?
She had been living in Florida.
And where do you live?
I live in Seattle, Washington.
Did you send her money for a plane ticket? How did she get to you?
She had money herself at that time to cover the cost of moving.
So she moved and it was her own funds that she used to move?
Yeah, the swindling hadn't started yet.
You must have had some substantial What is this? What is this look? I don't know what this look is.
Oh, it's just the verbiage.
Okay, well, let me go back and let me start with you, okay? Because there's only one theatrical person here in this room, and that's me. Do you understand?
I do.
Yes. I get paid the big bucks to be theatrical. Okay, so Miss Strackman, you lived in Miami. He lived in
Seattle,
Washington. You decided to move in with him. What kind of work were you doing in Seattle?
I was a video editor, but when COVID happened, everyone kind of lost their jobs.
And what arrangements did you make with him when you were going to move in with him?
He told me that if I gave up my life in Florida, I had a very lovely apartment, lots of friends.
You had a lovely apartment, you had
I
nice
gave up
friends,
everything to
but
go
no
and
job.
move to Seattle.
Okay, so he said, move to Seattle and I'll take care of you.
Yes.
That's what you say in here.
Yes.
And that was in July of 2020.
Yes.
Is that about what you said to her?
No. The reason she moved in, again, it was 4 months after we started dating, which normally...
Had you seen her during those 4 months?
We had Zoom.
That's either yes or no.
No.
No, you
I mean,
had no
virtually.
physical
No.
contact with her?
No.
Okay.
But because we were in lockdown and we were both pretty isolated, it made sense. Her lease was ending and things moved really fast between us, so we decided to try it together. Yeah.
Okay. Was there any discussion about what she was going to do once she got to Seattle?
Yeah, so as she stated, she was a freelance video editor, and she said she was going to potentially have more work in Seattle and continue to try and find gigs for that or find other employment, drive for Uber Eats.
But she came to you and she wasn't working?
She wasn't working, no.
Okay. And the relationship with her ended in what month?
It ended in February 2021.
So it was a relatively short live-in period, maybe 6, 7 months.
Right, because of her.
Did she ever work when she was with you?
Not that I
Just a second, I'm going to ask her. Did you ever have full-time gainful employment during the time that you lived with the plaintiff?
I did not. I was not supposed to.
I didn't ask you. I don't ask to be editorialized. I asked you, did you ever work full-time?
No.
Did you ever work part-time?
No.
Okay. Then there came a time, according to what I read in both of your papers, that he purchased a plane ticket for you to go back to Miami. That would be a yes.
That is correct. You're right.
And what month was that?
That was in February of 2021.
And tell me, in your own words, what you told him as to why you wanted to go to Miami, because he wasn't going with you.
He was not going with me.
Tell me what you told him as to why you needed to go to Miami.
I told him that I needed to visit my sister.
And does your sister live in Miami?
Yes.
Had you been there to visit her before?
I had, yeah.
While you were living with him?
No. I didn't travel.
So this was the first time you wanted to go and visit your sister?
Yes.
Okay, was there any specific reason that you gave him as to why you wanted to go visit your sister?
She was sick and I wanted to be there.
But did you tell him what she was sick with?
Yeah, it was COVID.
Does she live alone?
At the time, yes.
You know, it's not going to be easy. It's going to get harder. Now, the plaintiff seems like a relatively intelligent human being. Hands off hips. If somebody I lived with say, I want to go and see, unless it was a young child, maybe in a school or something that lived alone in an attic dormer, I want to go see my sister who's sick with COVID, and you don't have COVID, and this is 2021, I would say, well, why would you do that and put yourself at risk and then come back and put me at risk? Didn't you have that conversation?
We didn't, Your Honor, no. It just didn't come up.
I want to go take care of my sister because she has COVID? What about isolation? Didn't you ever hear about that?
I did hear about that. I spent a lot
Well,
of
what do you
time
think
in
that means?
Isolation means not traveling.
No, isolation means you're not supposed to be around other people if you test positive for COVID. If you're sick, stay at home. You don't travel cross country to be with somebody who's sick. But it doesn't make any difference, actually, because you should have picked up on that or whatever, because you didn't really want this ticket, according to what I read, Miss Strackman, to go and visit your sick sister. You needed this ticket because you had started to become involved with a boyfriend who was in jail in Florida.
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay, so that's a yes, which you didn't tell him. So you took the money from him for, let's just start with the ticket, under false pretenses.
I did, but I...
Just a second. That's all. I did. Not a but. Not a little. I did take the money from him under false pretenses when you went to Florida. He said you needed it for one thing, and in fact, you didn't. That's under false pretenses. How much was the ticket?
The ticket was for $427.40.
Okay. And when you went to Florida, Miss Strackman, and you stayed in a hotel, motel? What did you stay in?
I stayed in a hotel.
And whose charge account did you use for the hotel?
Yenny had given me a credit card.
That's not what I asked you. That's a name. Whose credit card did you use when you stayed at the hotel?
The plaintiff, Yenny's.
Mm-hmm. And that was by pre-arrangement with him that you were going to stay in a hotel rather than with your sister?
No, but I had the credit card for...
Now, that's not what I mean. Let's go back. You had the credit card. I'm assuming for the purpose of this question that what you say, and I don't know if it's true, but assuming for this question that what you say in your answer is accurate, that he gave you a credit card to use for your necessaries and expenses for emergencies.
Yes.
Yes. You would agree that going to visit secretly another boyfriend in Miami is not a necessity.
You would agree that Yenny cheating on me was not a necessity.
No. But did you use his credit card?
I did, and I believe that human loving kindness.
Okay, just a second. That's it. Do I look like I need help from you? If you had given him, Miss Strackman, a credit card, I want you to try to take everything else from out of your mind. If you had given him your credit card and said, I'm giving this to you because I said to you I would take care of you when we lived together if you didn't have a job. Let's say I believe that. I'm not so sure, but let's say I believe that. You would agree that going to see another boyfriend across the country was not a necessity for him, or for me, or for Whitney,
for you, no,
or for Sarah.
For me, I'm a woman with needs. I need dopamine, I need love, I need connection, and I wasn't getting that from Yenny. So it was a necessity that I went to go visit another man. Yenny had other girls as well on the side.
But you didn't, just a second, Miss Strackman, you didn't pay for the other girls. You didn't pay for his other girls.
I paid emotionally.
Oh, you said, what an idiot. What led you to believe you had the legal right to take that cat?
Because that cat had become severely bonded to me. Yenny was neglecting both of us, both of the women in his life he chose to neglect.
Tell me how the cat died in your custody. That's not a smile story. You always make a big deal, according to you, about your birthday. It's a very important day of the year.
Correct.
Yeah, that's the way Sarah feels, actually. Me, I sort of like to forget birthdays now. I like it to run right by that day as undercovered as possible.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Yenny and Gigi.
Yenny Pajaro claims his ex-girlfriend, Gigi Strackman, owes for the cost of a plane ticket, credit card charges, and stealing his cat. Gigi says they were all necessary expenses for her.
Now, you should feel so lucky that you got off so cheap.
I think you should assume everything that comes out of her mouth.
No.
Why?
Yeah.
Because
no.
if I wouldn't be here.
I get who I'm dealing with,
Yes.
sir. $427 for the flight ticket. How much was the credit card?
The credit card, also there's an incident with my cat as well, which
Just a second.
I'll address later.
Well, I'm going to get to that in a minute. That's your least strong suit, but it sort of tells me again who I'm dealing with.
Okay.
How much did she use on the credit card in Miami?
Okay.
Only in Miami.
Right. In Miami, she spent $1,000 on...
Now, just a second. Is that a sheet from your credit card company?
Yes.
I'd like to see it. Easier.
Would you like me to add the $427 for the flight ticket?
Yeah. Let's separate the two for me now. Okay. Giving you start, just show me where the bills are.
So those are two separate credit card statements because she used it in 2 separate months. One of those is when she initially started using it, which was...
I don't care when she initially started.
Okay.
let's understand.
Yeah.
She got your credit card.
Yes.
I only want to see the charges from Miami.
Okay, it's the one that says bail bonds, the bigger charge, which was...
Just circle.
Okay.
How much?
That was for $1,000, but overall it was...
No, $1,000. We're going to do it this way. $1,000 bail bonds.
Yes.
Okay, next.
And then she spent $262.50 at a hotel for both of them.
$250 for a hotel.
And then she spent $105 on a fancy dinner for her and her lover.
And her what?
And her lover.
Okay, 150?
150 is not fancy. That's the kind of person you're dealing with.
150. I don't think there's a question before you, madam. 10, 4, $1,400 there. Is that close?
Including the 1,000?
Including the 1,000, but then not including the 425. So it would be 1,827.
Correct.
Thank you. Okay. Now let's get to the final issue. So that takes care of your plane ticket and the credit card while she was in Miami. Now let's talk about the cat. Ms. Strackman, you moved in with the plaintiff July of 20.
Yes.
And when you moved in with the plaintiff, did he have a cat?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And what was that cat's name?
That cat's name is Momo.
And you lived with him a total of approximately 6 months.
Yes, Your Honor. And during that time, the cat...
No, I didn't ask you any questions. There's no question before
Daddy.
you. There's no question before you. I have dates. You moved in, you lived with him for 6 months. When you moved in, the cat was there. And if you recall, in what month and year had you gotten the cat?
I got Momo right before she moved in with me as an emotional support animal, which is legally protected.
When you say right before she moved in with you, give me the month.
It was
And where did you get the cat from?
June 2020. I adopted her from a shelter.
So you didn't have the cat long?
No.
When she moved in?
No.
And then the two of you had the cat?
Yes.
Okay,
but
great.
The cat was
and then when she, just a second, then when she left in February of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We are now in August of 2022, and you recently filed this case with regard to your cat.
Right. I didn't know where she was.
Just a second.
Disappeared.
I don't care.
Okay.
You recently filed this case with regard to the cat. Did you make a police report when she left with the cat?
I don't.
The answer is either yes or no.
I don't like involving the police, so no. I didn't want to ruin her life.
Oh, well. I want to tell you something. I have a small 4-pound dog at home. I love that creature more than anything in the world, except my grandchildren, my husband, and my children. Hope there are enough life rafts for everybody, including the dog.
I did try to hire a private investigator in Florida, but I didn't know where she was.
Okay. You didn't report it to the police, and I do have a problem with that. Now, Ms. Strackman, you knew when you moved into him he had this cat that he had adopted.
Yes, Your Honor.
I want you to tell me what led you to believe you had the legal right to take that cat?
Because that cat had become severely bonded to me. Yenny was neglecting both of us, both of the women in his life he chose to neglect.
Because I was working and
No, just a second. Don't.
Sorry, I paid for everything.
And so the cat.
So he was neglecting the cat and you, so you decided maybe half a neglect, you could be one whole person.
Exactly. Me and her just getting out of here and gonna go start a new life together. I spent day and night with that cat. That cat was extremely bonded to me. She would be devastated without me.
Tell me how the cat died in your custody. Tell me how the cat died in your custody. That's not a smile story.
It's not. No, it's absolutely devastating. I am completely torn up about it. Unfortunately, my boyfriend's dog was not accustomed to cats and mistook her for a toy, and she did not survive that.
What kind of a dog does your boyfriend have?
We don't know the breed. I've never done the genetic testing.
You have a picture of the dog?
I do not. I didn't bring any evidence. So I was hoping you just used
brought your smile. Okay.
She's not with her boyfriend.
She said, I didn't ask you a question. There's no question before you.
Love transcends bars, Annie.
Okay, 1827, $1,000 for taking his cat, and because you're a fool. 7, 2, 8, 2827, judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much. We're done here.
This court is adjourned.
First of all, I'm glad, and I think justice was served. I'm not for Momo, but for the other scams that Jacqueline pulled.
Then I need dopamine, I need oxytocin, I need love, I need care.
Well, credit card fraud.
And Yenny said that they were going to be the person who was going to give that to me.
Deception, played with my heart.
And then didn't, so I had to find it elsewhere.
It was incredibly, this was Momo.
I did not have the cat killed. I was very attached to Momo. That was my cat as well.
It was incredibly hard to deal with. I was also alone when I had to process that news, so.
I did not set a hitman out on the cat. That's a lot to say.
She saw me as a sugar daddy, and she saw herself as a wannabe Anna Nicole Smith. Unfortunately, neither of us are those things.
Can I plead the fifth on finding another sugar daddy?
Yet another lesson we learned about cohabitants living together and the rules of what not to do. No cars, no pets, no money exchanges.
No joint pets, no joint.
Exactly. But today we learned a
timeshares.
new one. Today, don't give access to your credit card to anyone that you don't want racking up charges for any purpose, even to visit a secondary lover in another state.
You know, the divorce rate in this country is still hovering somewhere around 50%. The living togethers who don't quite make it to the marriage place is a much greater number.
Yeah.
Living togethers don't stay together 70% of the time. Why in the world would you buy a pet together?
It's a risk.
Car together? A timeshare together?
True.
Or give somebody a credit card.
Yeah.
At the time that you do it, you're happy with them. But since at least 70% of the time you're going to go your own separate ways, at that time you're mad at each other.
And the lines get blurry.
And the lines get blurry, absolutely.
Case number 2024, Morgan versus Davis. All parties, please step forward.
Corey Morgan is suing dress designer Jacqueline Davis for party costs and a dress deposit.
Ms. Morgan, this is what this case is about in a nutshell. You were celebrating a birthday. When was your birthday?
March 24th.
And you always make a big deal, according to you, about your birthday. It's a very important day of the year for you and for everybody who knows you.
Correct.
Yeah, that's the way Sarah feels, actually. Me, I sort of like to forget birthdays now. I like it to run right by that day as undercovered as possible. Anyway, you celebrate your birthday with a big party.
Right.
And according to you, you get a spectacular dress for this party, invite everybody that you know and care about. How many people were you having for your birthday party?
It was going to be about 12 people.
Where was it going to be held?
It was going to be at the James Harden restaurant.
Who was going to be there?
My best friend from Chicago, my mom, my dad, just an intimate setting of family and friends.
Mom, dad, your best friend from Chicago. Who else?
Just family, cousins, aunt.
And you couldn't get the restaurant for that day, so you made it in April on a different day than your birthday.
Yes, I originally booked it in January 18th. The restaurant, it's a big deal, so yeah.
Whatever. It was postponed until what date?
Yes, ma'am, April 1st.
Okay. What about your best friend from Chicago? You told her not to come in because you didn't have a dress?
Well, I told him that I would be canceling the dinner because when she didn't deliver the dress, everything was already in black and silver.
Black and silver. You put on black pants, black top, and you put on the silver around your neck. It'd be ridiculous, Miss Morgan. You have to grow up a little.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Corey and Jacqueline.
Corey Morgan says dress designer Jacqueline Davis is responsible for party costs and a dress deposit. Jacqueline is countersuing, claiming Corey owes for travel costs.
And you ordered your dress from the defendant. You found her through a mutual friend because she makes wonderful clothes. The defendant also is a tax preparer, I understand. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So she's busy. So she makes clothes. She's a tax preparer in season. You made arrangements with her to make your dress, and she was going to make your dress at the cost of $300. According to you, you didn't get your dress in time. It was never fitted at all after your initial measurements were taken. Is that correct?
Yes.
And since you didn't have the dress for your dinner, you had a terrible birthday, you canceled your birthday, and you want her to pay for the dinner.
Yes. Just the build-up.
That's Miss Morgan. How old are you?
I just made 35, so it was the build-up leading to it.
So if you turn 35, I'm a lot older. Sarah's younger, and my other grandchildren, you know, were around that age. I have one that's close to your age. I cannot imagine any of my older grandchildren, or me, for instance, canceling an event because I didn't have just the right dress. I mean, it's not as if a bride is canceling her wedding because she didn't have a wedding dress to wear. Of course, if you want to get married badly enough, you put a sack over your head with a tie and You walk down the aisle, but you don't cancel the wedding. So you want her to pay for the deposit that you made on the dress.
Yeah, it was.
And another $1,000 or more because you didn't have a nice party.
So originally when I booked it, it was for April 1st. When I tried to rebook it because she told me at the last minute that she was not going to be able to do the dress, which was the week of. I had originally set up for her to do the dress so I could have something to wear. I purchased shoes, nails, everything.
I understand everything. She's not going to pay you for the party. You should have worn something else for the party. Believe me, your best friend from Chicago, your mother and your father would not have cared if you wore that dress or any other dress. You should not be out a penny.
I was out of a penny.
Well, you were out $150. You gave her $150. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I gave it back to her. I sent her a refund.
Oh, you did send her a refund?
Yes.
Did you? Just a second. Up. When did you send her a refund, Miss Davis?
I sent her a refund on March 29th. She requested a refund on March 28th, and I sent it directly to her.
To her on March 29th?
Yes.
How did you send it, by check or?
She sent me the money via Cash App, and I returned it via Cash App.
Do you have verification of that?
Yes, I do.
And she kept that money?
Yes.
Is that correct, Miss Morgan?
Yes, ma'am.
That's just a yes.
Yes.
Well, what did you think you were taking that money for? You asked for a refund, she gave you a refund.
I gave her $150 and she sent me $105 back, but she sent it the week of my event. So
I don't care the week of your event. Did you send her $105 or?
I did.
Why?
Because I was charged a fee with Cash App, and also there were additional items that were purchased that I told her about that I deducted from that.
You can't deduct anything from that. And you can't even deduct the fee from Cash App because what it cost her was more than $150 then to send it to you, right?
Right.
Right. So why should you send her less?
Because I previously explained to her that I needed to order stones. Those stones were ordered.
Oh, then you're going to have to eat those. You didn't have the dress in time. You didn't have the dress in time.
The dress wasn't done.
No, it wasn't done. Not even according to you was it done. She hadn't had a fitting on it. The problem is you gave her money, and you should have sent her exactly what it is that she sent you because you didn't fulfill your end of the contract. A day before the party is not time to say it's 95% ready. Okay. She has to give you $145.88, which is exactly what she received. Am I correct that that's what she said?
That is what she said.
$145.88? Okay. She doesn't pay you for your disappointment, for your sorrow, for your party costs, or anything else, just for my own information, because that's my judgment. Did you spend your birthday with your mother and father? That's either yes or no.
No, ma'am.
Who did you spend your birthday with?
My boyfriend.
Oh, was he invited to the other party?
The dinner, yes, but I had to cancel the dinner.
I'm just asking.
Yes.
You didn't have to cancel the dinner because you didn't have a dress. That's what I'm trying to get to you. You could have gone to your dinner in that dress. I know, it's silly, and it's a little bit immature also. What about your best friend from Chicago? You told her not to come in because you didn't have a dress?
Well, I told him that I would be canceling the dinner because I purchased shoes, my nails, everything was accustomed to the dress. So when she didn't deliver the dress, everything was already in black and silver. I did not have a chance to go look for anything because it was the week of.
Oh, yes, of course you did. Of course you did, black and silver. You put on black pants, black top, and you put on a silver around your neck. We're done here. Don't be ridiculous, Miss Morgan. You have to grow up a little. You have to give her back her money. Don't disappoint people. I mean, I know it's busy. It's tax time. You said to her, I'm busy. I'm working on things for the Oscars. You can't overstretch yourself. I know that it's very entrepreneurial to try to do too much. But sometimes when you try to do too much, you disappoint somebody.
This court is adjourned.
I'm not happy about it just because I'd already given her a refund.
I'm happy with the decision. It was pretty much principle for me. She was very unprofessional.
And given from the beginning, I worked with her.
And she didn't respect my time, and she canceled on me at the last minute.
And she waited to the last minute and canceled the order. So
she canceled at the last minute because she didn't have the dress ready to begin with.
Everything was really on her, but she put it on me because she was unhappy with how she chose to deal with the whole situation.
We'll be getting another dress with my original person that I was going to go to.
Absolutely not.
But from now on, I definitely will be going with who I know.
Will not work with the plaintiff again.
So I remember seeing through COVID, a lot of wedding dress shops closing down and the stress of brides going for fittings and seeing their dress, picking their dress, and then the shop just closed right out from under them. I wonder if any of them canceled their wedding because they didn't have the right dress.
I think that one of the life's lessons is as you get older, you have to prioritize the importance of things.
True. Spending time with friends, family, out of town, coming for your birthday. I couldn't imagine canceling an event just
Because you didn't
the
have the
wrong
right
outfit.
dress. Because you didn't have the right dress. So I think that there's a lot of growing up to do, maybe a little less narcissism, because it would seem to me spending time with your boyfriend, your mother, your father, your best friend
Yeah.
from Chicago is more important than having the right dress to fit your nails and your shoes.
I agree.
Maybe I'm just...
Title: Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to
You were out walking the family dog.
Yes. The pit bull latched onto my dog, and my dog was squealing a lot.
My dog is not vicious, and she likes to play with little dogs.
Clearly not on this day. She didn't like to play with other dogs.
This is Judy Justice. Audrey Stevens is suing her neighbor, Heather Stevens, for vet bills and pain and suffering after a dog attack.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge. Case 2139, Stevens versus Stevens.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Although your names sound the same, they're spelled differently, and you are clearly not related based upon this case. You live in the same general area.
Yes.
Okay. Could you step up?
A young woman.
Tell me your name.
Emily Farringer,
This is your daughter.
Yes.
How long have you been living in your house?
8.5 years.
How old are you?
22.
Tell me what you do.
I work at a bakery right now, and I'm a full-time college student.
Where do you go to school?
Idaho State University.
You were out walking the family dog.
Yes, I
Family has one dog?
Just one, yeah.
What kind of dog?
It's a miniature schnauzer.
Weighs about 10, 12 pounds?
Yeah, around there, 15-ish.
How old is the dog?
He is 9.
You've had him since he was a puppy.
Yes.
This case has to do with injuries that your dog sustained.
Yes.
And the payment of vet bills by the defendant, who you allege has 2 dogs unleashed that attacked your dog while you were walking.
Correct.
Him.
Just one dog.
One dog.
One.
One dog attacked our dog.
You have a pit bull.
Yes, ma'am.
What color?
White and brown.
How old?
She's 5.
Is that the only dog you have?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Tell me what date you were walking the dog that this incident happened.
July 26, 2021.
Time.
Around 8 p.m.
Dark?
No.
Still light out.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you walking in the neighborhood?
I was walking down the sidewalk, and I passed the defendant's house, and I reached the end of the sidewalk.
Your dog's name is what?
Jax?
On a leash?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you always walk the dog on a leash?
We do.
Tell me what happened.
I was walking down the sidewalk, and I reached the end of the sidewalk. I was about to cross the street, and...
Do you have a picture, a diagram?
I do. I
of where
have a
this
diagram.
happened? May I see it, please? Oh, okay. There it is. Would you go over to the diagram so that you can point directly and I can understand where this happened?
A map of the street corner.
I was standing right here, and I noticed the dog come up on my left side.
On your left side?
Yes.
Did you notice from where the dog came?
It seemed to be out in the street when it approached me.
So it didn't come from the defendant's house, it came from the street?
Yes. It had been on the left-hand side of me. And then the pit bull latched onto my dog on its leg.
What color pit bull?
Brown and white.
Was there any fighting or a scuffle before?
No, ma'am. It just ran up to me, and it latched onto my dog's leg, and it picked my dog up and was yanking it around in the air. And it was very loud, and my dog was squealing a lot and crying out very loudly, so I yanked his leash so that I didn't have to bend down and get hurt myself. And I picked him up, and I ran back.
So you yanked him up by his leash?
I did.
Okay. Did he have what kind of a collar on? A regular collar or one of those harnesses?
We have both, so I'm not sure which one he was wearing at that time, but I believe he was wearing the collar.
Just the collar?
Yes.
So you lifted him up by the collar?
Yes.
Did you see where the dog went?
I do not remember. I think the pit bull ran back into the defendant's household.
But you're not sure?
I'm not sure.
What did you do next?
We took the dog to the animal hospital.
Okay. You can go back now.
Emily rejoins Audrey at the plaintiff's table.
Stand close to you.
Sorry.
Had you ever seen this dog before?
I have.
Where had you seen the dog before?
I've seen the pit bull in multiple places around the neighborhood. I've seen it across...
That same dog?
Yes. I've seen it across the street in that across the street neighbor's yard, and I've also seen it in my yard, and it's also been next to my chain link fence before.
Did you or you, Ms. Stevens, ever have a conversation with the defendant about the dog being unleashed?
I have not spoken to her at all.
For how long have you seen her unleashed dog out and about?
Probably about 10 times.
Have you ever said anything to your mother about seeing this dog outside?
I have.
Okay. I'm listening.
Yes, ma'am. May I show you on the
Absolutely.
on the diagram? Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay. First of all,
Don't tell me first of all.
Okay.
Were you there at approximately 8 p.m.
Yes, I
on
was.
July 26th?
correct, I was.
Okay, where were you? Show me where you were.
I was right here. I was loading a fridge into my home. I had my dog right here in the middle of the driveway, chained to the fence, okay? She came from across the crosswalk here, because I have a witness as well to show. She came from the crosswalk with her dog in front of her. She came across right into my driveway. The dog went into my driveway, and my dog went up to her, and they began to fight.
You're going like this.
Yes.
You're going like this. I don't want you to go like this.
Okay.
So your dog was on a chain.
Yes, ma'am.
A chain that extended almost to the end of your driveway.
Correct.
So show me exactly with your finger.
Okay, yes.
Where you say this confrontation between the pit bull and the schnauzer took place.
Right here, ma'am.
Well, you're pointing to about a foot. Well, now you keep moving your finger.
Right here.
Heather points at the end of her driveway. Caption coming up.
You know that I don't believe that your dog hasn't been out and about in the neighborhood, unleashed.
No, ma'am. I don't let my dog off a leash.
We do have pictures of the dog as well, if you'd like to see those.
Oh, do you?
We
Yes.
You mean out and about?
Yes.
I'd like to see that.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Audrey, Emily, and Heather.
Audrey Stevens claims her neighbor, Heather Stevens, owes for vet bills after her dog was injured by Heather's pit bull.
Now you're moving your finger. So you're saying it's right at the end of your driveway.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a second. It was up further 5 seconds ago.
Okay,
Now
my
you
dog was right here,
yeah,
ma'am.
Yeah.
The fight occurred right here.
Well, now your finger is at a different place, madam. I'm
Well-
just letting you know your finger moves up the driveway.
Right, I'd say right here.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Heather returns to the defendant's table.
You know that I don't believe that.
I know you don't believe that,
You,
Honor, but
you
that's
know,
what happened.
you know that I don't believe that your dog hasn't been out and about in the neighborhood. Do you know that I don't believe that? I don't think she's lying to me that your dog's been out and about in the neighborhood. Unleashed.
No, ma'am. I don't let my dog off a leash.
We do have pictures of the dog as well, if you'd like to see those.
Oh, do you?
We
Yes.
You mean out and about?
Yes.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
And this is after.
Shh.
Sorry.
I don't care before or after.
Yeah.
She just said, I don't let my dog go out without a leash.
Well, this is the injury.
Audrey hands photos to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She looks at 2 photos of an unleashed pit bull.
Ms. Stevens, these pictures belie the fact that your dog is out, leashed only. Do you want to see the photograph?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Kevin brings the photos to Heather, who reviews them.
Yes, Your Honor, I do see that, but I was outside with my dog at that time.
I don't care whether you were outside with your dog or not. You said your dog is never out without a leash. That's not true. That's not true. Were you a witness to this?
Yes, ma'am.
Be very careful. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
A woman rises.
Tell me your name.
My name is Karen Brennan.
Are you a neighbor?
No, I am a friend
A friend of whose?
of Heather Stevens.
Go ahead.
Well, on that day,
On what date?
on July 26, I was helping Heather with the fridge.
With the what?
With the refrigerator. And I was approaching the driveway.
Just a second. You were helping her with the refrigerator doing what?
Bringing the dolly out so it can be moved.
Bringing the dolly out from where?
From the side of the house.
And?
And I looked over and I saw the little dog and it caught my eye.
You saw what?
The little dog. And it caught my eye because every time before, anytime I put the dog out, Miss Stevens' dog, that little dog, if it was in the backyard, would continually bark it.
Just a second. Did you put the dog out that day?
No, I did not that day. But I recognized
So
the
you
dog.
did not put the dog out?
No.
That day?
Not that day.
Okay. What time did you get to Miss Stevens' house?
Mid-afternoon.
What's her dog's name?
Lily.
Was Lily chained to the fence all afternoon?
When we were...
Was Lily chained to the fence all afternoon? That's either a yes or a no. When you were there. That's either a yes or a no. Was Lily chained to the fence all afternoon when you were there. You said you got there mid-afternoon. This happened at 8 o'clock. Was the dog chained to the fence all the time you were there? Yes or no? Or I don't know? No.
No.
Where was the dog?
In the backyard.
Until what time?
Until around 7-ish or so. I don't know the exact time, but it was mid-evening.
Okay. And what happened at that time when the dog was moved from the backyard outside of the backyard? Who moved the dog?
We went to go get the refrigerator.
No. Who moved the dog?
Heather did.
She took the dog from the backyard.
Yes.
Just a second. To the backyard, to the driveway, just to the driveway, because that's where she pointed out that the dog was chained to the driveway fence.
Yes. When we came back from we went to go get the refrigerator.
Just a minute. Well, you didn't tell me, so you left the house.
Yes.
What time did you leave the house?
Mid-afternoon. It was like...
What time?
Approximately 4 or 5.
Okay. And the dog at that time was where?
With us in the vehicle.
So you had the dog in the car, so the dog was in the backyard.
Yes.
And then from the backyard, the dog went with you in the car.
Correct.
And then what?
And then we picked up the refrigerator, and we came back, and then she had chained her.
Okay, so from the car, the dog went to the fence, which is chained sort of midway up the fence, according to the defendant, sort of midway up the driveway.
Correct.
Is where she chained the dog.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Then where did you go?
And then I went to go get the dolly and bring it around so we could get the fridge
Okay,
out.
and where did Miss Stevens stay?
She was in the driveway.
And it was when you were coming out of the backyard that you saw Miss Stevens in the driveway?
Yes.
And saw the little dog?
Yes.
She was in the driveway. Was she next to the dog? Go over there and point out where she was, would you, in the driveway?
Karen points at the driveway.
She was...
She, Miss Stevens?
That Miss Stevens, yes.
Your friend?
Yes.
Was right in the middle of the driveway, near where the dog was chained?
Yes.
And show me where the defendant's house is, because you had been in the house earlier that day. Point on that diagram where the house is.
Right here.
Where it says defendant.
Yes.
That's the whole house. And where's the front door?
Right here.
Up there. And where's the porch on the front door?
Right there.
Okay. Now, that's not where she was. She was in the driveway.
Correct.
Okay, now go back. Now I'm going to read to you what your friend Miss Stevens wrote and swore to in her answer. I was standing on the porch, maneuvering the fridge inside, and I saw a little dog sniffing around and walking up my driveway. She said she was on the porch.
Well, she was back.
That's where she said she was, on the porch. I know the plaintiff's dog is a barker since it has come to the backside of my property and barked at my dog through the fence. The dog walked all the way up the driveway to where my dog was. Now, you want to think back? Miss Stevens says she was standing on the porch. You were very certain she was standing mid-driveway right near her dog. Which one is it?
Well, we were trying to maneuver the fridge, so we were back and forth.
No. Which one is it? Was she on the porch, which is all the way at the other end?
Yes.
Or was she mid-driveway?
Mid-driveway.
She was mid-driveway. So Miss Stevens lied when she said she was on the porch.
Caption, coming up.
I didn't look at a police report. I listened to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I listened to your witness.
Yes.
And you and the witness that you brought told two divergent stories, two totally different stories. She was your witness.
Heather's eyes widen. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Audrey, Emily, Heather, and Karen.
Audrey Stevens is accusing her neighbor, Heather Stevens, of losing control of her pit bull. Heather claims Audrey's dog ran onto her property.
So Miss Stevens lied when she said she was on the porch. That's what she says in her answer. I was on the porch when this happened. You understand? Do you understand?
Yes.
Sit.
Karen sits.
Can I see your vet bills, please?
Your Honor, I have a video of my dog. Can we present the video that I have brought?
You mean for that day?
Yes, ma'am. No, not for that day. No, not for that day, but just to show you that my dog is not vicious. That she likes to play with little dogs.
Clearly not on this day. She didn't like to play with other dogs.
That dog is constantly barking at my dog in the backyard, and that's the only. My dog loves dogs. I have obedient records.
Miss Stevens.
Yes.
I want you to understand something.
Yes, ma'am.
Whether the Schnauzer is a barker or not a barker, I told you, I didn't believe you when you told me that her dog was off leash. I didn't believe that. Either you or your witness lied. I don't know which one. So I'm going to have to assume it was your witness. Do you want me to assume it was your witness or you? So one of you lied. She says you were in a totally different place. She was coming out from the backyard. That's where she was. She had gone to get the dolly. You said you were maneuvering the refrigerator up on the porch.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, who is telling me the truth? You want to tell me?
It was a very hectic day.
It was a very hectic day.
Yeah.
And I have photographs of your dog, despite the fact that you tell me that your dog is never off leash, always on leash. I have 3 photographs taken 3 different times of your dog being off leash. Now, there's no question that your dog caused the injuries to the dog.
This has been going on for over a year in court. They dismissed it in criminal court, and there's a reason why they dismissed it.
Just a second.
Yes,
You're going to try to tell me why they dismissed the case in criminal court? You have a document? I mean, I understand that they filed a criminal case against you.
There was a criminal case that was dismissed, Your Honor.
That's okay. That has nothing to do with this civil proceeding. You know, somebody may not want to put you in jail because you let your pit bull roam around without a leash. Somebody may not want to put you in jail, but you are clearly responsible for this dog's injuries. You are. If you have a pit bull, and pit bulls can be dangerous dogs, they can turn on a dime and cause serious injury. Pit bull lovers, I don't want to hear from you. I've been going through it for 25 years. Some of them are nice. Some of them are not nice. But when they're not nice and they turn, they have configurations that can cause a great deal of injury. One killed a woman who was babysitting for it.
I understand you.
So you do understand.
I believe, may I say something? I believe that a dog is how it was raised, okay? I've raised that dog from a baby. She's never been mean like that. That dog that lives next door, which is Miss Stevens' dog, yaps at my dog every single day. She goes outside, yaps, 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 yaps at her.
So what you're telling me is your dog, so if what you're telling me is that your dog had the right to be aggravated because the dog yaps at her all the time, that's not a reason to let any dog, but especially a dog that has potential to cause injury, out without a leash. And you do that regularly, and you can't do that.
Your Honor, can I also add that I did have a brief interaction with Miss Stevens on the day that it occurred, and it seemed like she did come out of the street with the dog. I don't believe she was in the driveway. She offered help for me.
She did?
Yes, before I went home.
And
where was
not
she?
to interrupt, but we also have video of her acknowledging fault with the officer's body cam video.
What is that?
They have a body cam on when he was talking to her when she said she's really sorry and she's going to pay the vet bill.
Oh, may I see that, please?
Body cam footage.
Getting ready to take her for a walk. We were moving in a fridge.
Oh, okay.
And she jumped out of the car when she seen that little dog, because I was getting ready to get in the car and
Gotcha.
right on the corner here.
Okay. So were they just across the street then?
No, they were right here.
They were just right here on the sidewalk. Okay.
I'm going to pay the bill, I know, and whatever I got to do.
Yeah, so she's down at the clinic now.
It was a bite on her, on the shoulder, I think.
On the shoulder?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she was just protecting me.
Sure.
That's all. And I'll pay the bill.
That you're responsible
And I want to
for, so-
apologize.
Sure.
I feel bad. I do feel bad about it. I do love dogs. I'm a dog lover. And I do feel bad. And I believe she just said, the defendant just said that she was in the street when that happened. It was in my driveway that happened, Your Honor. I'm just saying, we want to be honest.
Was your dog on a chain?
My dog was on a chain, Your Honor. Another thing, I never got my side of the story added to that at all. It was all one-sided. The whole police report was one-sided, Your Honor.
I didn't look at a police report,
I
madam.
have one right here.
Just a second. I didn't look at a police report. I listened
It's
to
all
your.
one-sided.
I listened to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I listened to your witness.
Yes.
And you and the witness that you brought told 2 divergent stories, 2 totally different stories. She was your witness.
Yes.
easily confused, but she was your witness, and you should have prepared her better, consistent with what your answer was. Do you understand?
Yes, Sean, I wasn't trying to...
Very, very good. Okay. Pain and suffering, unfortunately, is not yours. If you had had injury to yourself, and I think that the law is a little crazy there, but we can gauge pain and suffering for an animal. Anyway, your vet bills were $435.
Your Honor, we just added that just because, you know...
I understand.
Blatant disregard, and the dog's still out all the time.
Oh, no, excuse me. The total with tax was $441. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Emily, then Karen and Heather.
It's been a struggle just because of how long it's been going on.
It was a crazy day.
The dog almost got to our dog's leg bone and broke it.
Because the dog is always japping at my dog.
It was pretty scary.
So it surprised me that that happened.
He was bleeding and everything.
She's not vicious whatsoever.
We ran him up to the hospital.
The animal control never get in my house.
I had a feeling that Judy would see right through her, so.
I love dogs, and I felt sorry for the little dog.
I'm happy about the settlement and how we got our money.
Judy and Sarah.
I'm not even going to get on my soapbox with regard to dogs that are potentially dangerous. There's no question that this lady has a dog that she's had from a puppy, and the dog has never caused her any difficulty, but there's also no question that she lets that dog out without a leash.
I mean, they had proof of different occasions of the dog out and about.
After this happened.
After this incident.
After this incident.
So you can, I think that's also a great lesson, that you can feel bad and be an animal lover and want to take care of the bill. But if you don't take any subsequent remedial measures to fix your bad behavior that caused this great deal of injury, then I don't really believe you that you feel sorry or that you're a dog lover. Because,
well, that's an interesting perspective.
Yeah, I mean, you knew what you had to do to ensure the safety of the dogs and other people in your neighborhood, and you chose not to do that. So
after it had already had an incident.
Exactly.
At least one.
Yeah.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to Judy.
What did he say he needed the loan for?
To get a vehicle.
I thought that it was given to me because we were, like, really cool.
Do you understand how foolish that sounds?
Yes.
The only people that do that sort of thing, usually, as my great-grandmother would call them, bums.
This is Judy Justice. Vanessa Howard is suing her former friend, Ontrell Brooks, for a car loan.
Court come to order. All rise.
Judge Judy.
Have a seat, everyone.
Kevin approaches the bench.
Hello, Judge.
Hello.
Case 2108, Howard versus Brooks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ms. Howard, your case is simple. You claim a loan to the defendant for the down payment on a car.
Yes.
When did you make this loan?
March 24th of this year.
How much was it?
I gave him $1,500 and he paid $300.
Where did you take the money from?
I had it at my home.
In cash?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a hairstylist. I'm an owner-operator.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's the sole source of your income?
Yes. I own a salon business. I'm opening my second one.
Tell me how you know the defendant.
He was a client of a former stylist many years ago, so I met him through the salon.
Did you have any sort of relationship with him?
At the time that I met, no.
No. At the time that you gave him this loan,
we were friends.
What did he say he needed the loan for?
To get a vehicle.
To get a car?
He was at Mercedes trying to purchase another car, and I knew he had a baby on the way, so I felt it was...
I want to know what he said to you.
He said that he needed help with the down payment. He was short some for a down payment on a car that he wanted.
Did you have that conversation on the phone or in person?
Yeah, he called me and asked me for originally $2,500 to help him with the down payment. And I told him, well, I don't know if I have that much. I'll see what I can get him. I had the $1,500. He came to pick it up at my home.
And that was on the 24th of March?
Yes.
When did you purchase your car?
I believe it was the 24th as well.
You have any paperwork for the car? What paperwork do you have there? I just want to see what you brought with you today.
Basically, the lien holder paper.
And what is that supposed to tell me?
I believe it has the date on there when I purchased it.
Okay. And how much did you put down on the car?
$9,000.
Did you trade in a car?
No.
Why did you need $2,500 from her?
I actually didn't ask for it. I just mentioned to her that I
No, well,
needed
just a
it.
second. I asked you a question.
Okay.
Why did you need extra money towards the down payment? Did it affect the payments? Did it affect the insurance? Did it affect the
yes.
premium?
Basically, the car, it was like $74,000. So if I was to put down a lower payment, like you were saying, the payment would be higher for the monthly. So if I put down a little more, it dropped it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she gave you $1,500, not $25.
Yes.
But she gave you $1,500.
Yeah.
And she gave that to you around the same time that you purchased the car. Were you current in your insurance payments on the car?
Yes.
And then you crashed the car.
Yes.
And the insurance company paid the lien holder on the car.
Yes.
Made the payout.
Yes.
So you didn't get any money from the insurance.
No.
So now you have no car, right? I don't know if you have a car now.
I have a car, yes.
Well, you got another car.
Yes.
What kind of car did you buy?
Tesla.
A Tesla. And how much did you pay for the Tesla?
I put down like $8,000.
Where'd you get the $8,000 from?
I work. I have a place where I hold traveling nurses.
Did you take the money out of a bank, or did you have it in cash?
I had it in cash.
The $8,000.
Yeah.
How much money do you make from this business that you have?
It varies depending on how many nurses I have staying there.
So you own the property, or do you manage the property?
I manage the property. So it's basically housing nurses or people that travel for business.
And how long have you had that business?
I've been doing that for maybe a couple years now.
That's how you support yourself?
That, and I do training as well, fitness training.
Okay, so now you paid back $300 of the $15, right?
I gave her $300.
Right, and when did you give her the $300?
I'm not quite sure the date, but...
Give me a month.
I'm not quite sure.
When did he give you the $300?
May 17th.
Okay.
Tell me why you gave back the $300.
I gave it back to her because she basically...
Not basically, this is basically.
Well, because she kept asking for it. So just to get her off me for a second. So I gave her $300. Just I didn't feel like I owed it to her because I thought that, you know, it was given to me because we were like really cool.
Just a second. Okay. All right. Well, Miss Howard.
You
Miss
can't
Howard.
be serious.
Miss Howard.
Yes, ma'am.
How long have you been operating your two salons?
I'm opening a new one now, and the first one was opened in 2012.
Do you live with anyone?
My children.
How many kids do you have?
I have 3.
How old are they?
I have a 17, 18, and 21-year-old.
Big kids?
Yeah, college and high school, yes.
Who supports them?
I do.
From
Their
your
father
work?
helps too, yes.
From your work. Do you live with their father?
No.
No. But he also helps.
Yes,
with
he
them.
does.
And you sound like a really intelligent, put-together woman who's had her own business, who's got 3 kids, college kids.
Yes.
Moving forward.
Yes.
Why? Why do you think, you know, I know that you work, because if you're a hairdresser and that's your source of income, you work really hard. It takes a long time to accumulate $1,500. You know, I'm sure you get some tips and stuff. That's the cash that you keep.
Yeah.
So you work hard and you've got 3 kids who need money. He wants to buy an uber expensive car and he wants his payments to be lower. So he says to you, not that he needs it. See, he doesn't need it to get a car. He wants it to make his payments lower.
That's not how he presented it to me.
How did he present it to you?
He said he needs help, he needs the money for the down payment, and I knew, he told me that, you know, the situation, his car got taken away or whatever. And
his car got what?
His previous vehicle was taken from him.
From how?
I don't know.
What kind of a car did you have? Before you bought the BMW?
That's what it was. It was a BMW.
Oh, and then you bought a Mercedes?
Yeah.
Okay, so you bought, sorry, I got that confused. You bought the Mercedes using some of her money. Before that, you had a BMW.
Yes.
Okay, and now you have a Tesla. Do you understand how foolish that sounds?
Yes.
You don't want to sound foolish.
Well, like I said, he's had a baby on the way any day now, and my compassion for the situation, I was like, okay, I'll give you that. And I know he's had a source of income. It's not like I've ever known him not to have an income. So I felt like, okay, he'll do right by me. Of course, he didn't. We see.
Do you know how many people stand in exactly that spot and say, you know, I trusted him. He gave me this story, gave me that story.
Yes.
And what I'm telling you is most of the people standing there, for some reason that has always baffled me, are women.
Caption coming up.
Any guy who takes money from you to lower his car payment and buys a car for $75,000, the only people that do that sort of thing are untrustworthy. Then you change the contract and you said, not acceptable. You're behind $500 and a late payment will only be acceptable with a current payment. Is there anything about that in your contract?
There's not.
Okay, so if it's not in your contract, it doesn't exist.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Van Ness and Antrell.
Van Ness Howard claims her former friend, Antrell Brooks, owes for a car loan.
Most of the people standing there, for some reason that has always baffled me, are women.
Yeah.
Very rarely do I have guys standing there and say, you know, she asked me for this, and so I knew she had a baby on the way, and I felt sorry for her, so I gave them money.
Right.
Most of the time, they say goodbye, which is what you should have said. And
Absolutely.
You appear to be much too fine a lady and a hard-working lady. Don't give anybody,
no more.
Any guy who takes money from you to lower his car payment and buys a car for $75,000 and asks you for $1,000 or $2,000, knowing that you're a working gal and that he didn't need it to buy a car. He could have bought a car for $50,000. He could have bought a car for $30,000.
Right.
Likes to drive fancy cars with somebody else's money, okay?
Yes.
So the only people that do that sort of thing are untrustworthy, usually, as my great-grandmother would call them, bums. So I would suggest that you be smart in the future. You're a hardworking lady. Hold on to your money. If you want to invest in anything, invest in your children's future. We're done here. Judge complaint.
This court is adjourned.
Mr. Brooks took my money with no intentions of paying back.
I thought it was, she gave it to me.
Oh, car crashed, my tires got slashed.
I thought it was a gift because she really liked me.
Don't let men borrow money.
Judy and Sarah.
Lovely woman, hardworking woman. She's going to have a chain, as Dolly Parton would say, have a chain. Going to have a second salon. On the other side, you have somebody with zero judgment.
He's well-versed in other people's money.
Why? A perfectly sensible, bright woman would take money that she worked really hard for and give it to somebody that she hardly knows.
Women have to be smarter.
The women have to be smarter, worry about themselves.
Yeah.
Case 2113, Pickett versus Glick. All parties, please step forward.
William Pickett is suing his former friend, Clinton Gick, for unpaid car payments and vehicle damage.
Mr. Pickett, you and the defendant, according to what I've read, were friends. You knew each other.
Yes.
You had a car that you were interested in selling. The defendant was interested in purchasing the car. Your car was 10 or 11-year-old vehicle,
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
When had you purchased it?
I purchased it about a year or so prior.
So you only had the car for a year. You were not an
Short
original
amount of
owner.
time, yeah.
Did you pay cash?
I did.
How much did you pay for the car?
Roughly $10,000, $10,000.
No, I want to know. I mean, you came to court today, not a roughly. Today we know the numbers. We're not talking about something that happened 20 years ago, something that happened a year ago. You bought a car a year ago. You paid cash for it, according to you. I want to know how much you paid for it. That's easy. You should have those records.
10,000.
Well, now you say 10, right?
Yep.
Now you say 10. So now I'm going to tell you to go outside and get me the bill of sale for the car.
I did not bring that.
Why?
I didn't think I needed it.
How am I supposed to ascertain what you paid for the car, sir?
I didn't think about that.
Should have thought about it. I thought about it right off the bat. You had the car for 1 year. And when did you sell it to the defendant?
3/18 of 22.
For how much?
$10,000.
Well, then you're a genius businessman, because unless this 10, 11-year-old car, Mr. Pickett, had something really unusual about it, most cars depreciate the moment you drive them out of a lot. You bought this car from a company, which means you paid more for it than if you purchased it through a private person. You understand that?
Yes.
Of course. So there was clearly a markup. Sarah, take a look at a 2012 Dodge Charger with 148,000 miles.
I got it. Between 7,500 and 10,000 for a private party sale.
Okay, so as I thought, the value of the car went down from when you bought it, but you sold it to him for $10,000 because he was making payments, I assume, because he was making payments. Did you have a written contract?
I did.
I'd like to take a look at it.
William hands a document to Kevin, who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Mr. Glick, how did you know each other, sir?
We worked together. We'd known each other for about a year, I think, at the time the car was sold.
Okay, so the first thing was he traded in something of value, which was he gave you a car.
Correct.
What kind of car did he give you?
A Honda minivan.
Did you have the title to that?
Yes, I did.
Did he turn over the title to you?
He did.
What did you do with the Honda minivan?
I sold it.
To whom?
Someone off of Facebook Marketplace.
Okay, when did you sell it?
A few weeks afterwards.
How much did you sell it for? How much did you say you sold it for?
$1,000, $1,200.
Let's get specific. Mr. Pickett.
$1,000.
I'm not exactly sure what he sold it for, but clearly acknowledges at least $1,000. So this is what the lawsuit is about, and I've read your contract. According to the contract that you have here, you listed the dates, the schedule of payments, and you marked off when he paid and when he didn't. But we're going to go through the dates, and your lawsuit seeks damages to the car, repo fees, the unpaid contract price of the car because you repossessed it and you want him to continue until he's finished paying for it, right? That's what you want.
Yes, ma'am.
And the defendant has a counterclaim. And his counterclaim, in effect, although he doesn't articulate it in legalese, the basis of his countersuit is that there was never any meaningful breach of the contract and that he tried to make his payments pursuant to the contract and that you repossessed the car without just cause, and he's counterclaiming for the money that he put into the car as equity. That's what your counterclaim is.
That's
correct? Okay. So far you put in $4,000. According to this, he paid you March of 2022, April. As a matter of fact, he made 2 payments.
Correct. Payment schedule was for every 2 weeks.
6/17, he made a partial payment, but made that up on 7/1, so he was up to date. Then you say on the 15th of July, he missed a payment. Did you miss a payment the 15th of July?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Tell me why.
At that point, the plaintiff had already threatened to repossess the car several times before I'd ever missed a payment on the car.
Because you made a partial payment once in June.
Yeah, and also...
But then made it up again within 2 weeks.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so you had already said to him, you missed payments, I'm going to repossess the car.
I didn't threaten to repossess it.
No.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you missed a payment on July 15th.
Yes, and I informed him when I missed the payment that the reason for missing it, he had just filed for bankruptcy, and with his bankruptcy and the threats to repossess the car, I had decided that I wanted to miss, as it states in the contract, that I could miss 2 consecutive payments before repossession. I wanted to talk to a lawyer and make sure that I wasn't going to be putting even more money into a car that
you weren't going to have equity in.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's why you missed July 15th.
Yes, that's
okay.
correct.
And it's the 29th of July, also missed.
Yes. So I attempted to give Mr. Pickett a $500 payment on the 29th. He refused to accept that payment, and I have that in text.
I'd like to see it.
Text messages.
I'd like to see it. Do you acknowledge that he attempted to give you a payment on the 29th?
Yeah, he attempted to make a partial payment.
He attempted to give you $500.
Correct.
Clinton hands a document to Kevin.
And tell me why you didn't accept the $500. He missed the payment on the 15th.
I informed him on the 16th that I would not accept a late payment unless it's in conjunction with the current payment.
You can't change the contract, sir. You can't change a written contract.
Caption, coming up.
There was a loan on this car.
Yeah, there's a title loan on it.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. That adds a different wrinkle to this whole thing because you told me you paid cash for the car, so I assume there was not a problem.
A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, William and Clinton.
William Pickett claims his former friend, Clinton Gick, owes for car payments and vehicle damage. Clinton is countersuing, claiming William sold the car under false pretenses.
Now, you had a written contract with him. If you're changing the terms, he has to agree to the terms in writing in the same force and manner of the original contract, which is this in writing signed by both parties. You have a contract here. The contract says he can't miss 2 consecutive payments. He wasn't missing 2 consecutive payments. He missed July 15th, and he tried to give you one on the 29th of July. If you refuse to accept it, he hasn't missed 2 payments. You refuse to accept the second one. Got it?
Got it.
Kevin brings a document from Clinton to Judy.
Okay, well, I see the interchange, Mr. Pickett, and the interchange clearly says you're paying your $1,000 today or returning my car. He says, I'll be giving you my $500 payment that's due today. Then you changed the contract and you said, not acceptable. You're behind $500 and a late payment will only be acceptable with a current payment. Is there anything about that in your contract?
There's not.
Okay, so if it's not in your contract, it doesn't exist, and you had so far no reason to repossess the car. Did he try to make a payment to you in August?
I think one other time between the time I repossessed it.
Okay, well, you had no reason to repossess it so far unless he missed 2 consecutive payments or unless he failed to keep insurance. Did he fail to keep insurance?
I have never been given proof of insurance.
This doesn't require that you are
I
given
don't know
proof
if
of
they have
insurance.
or not.
This doesn't say you require proof. Did you have insurance on the car?
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Through whom?
Erie Insurance Agency.
Okay. And you have no information to the contrary?
I don't.
Okay, fine. So at the time you repossessed the car so far, Mr. Pickett, you didn't have basis under your contract to repossess the car.
There was also other terms that I believed he had violated.
Well, let's hear them. So far, he didn't miss 2 consecutive payments. Had you filed for bankruptcy?
I had started filing for bankruptcy, yeah.
Is that completed?
Still hasn't been discharged yet. I think I have another month or so.
Was this the first time you filed for bankruptcy? Buyer misses 2 or more consecutive payments. Buyer fails to maintain full coverage under insurance. Any significant damage to the vehicle that is not repaired in 30 days. Did you notify Mr. Glick of any damage to the car? Give him notice and say, pursuant to the contract, it has to be fixed in 30 days?
We had talked about it when he came to drop off one of his payments, and he said...
Well, give me a month.
It was...
A month and a year.
It was in June.
June of 2022, he came over to drop off a payment, and that would have either been on June 3rd or June 17th.
Correct.
Okay, and tell me about the conversation.
I said, hey, there's a dent in the front now. He said he'll get taken care of. At that point, I didn't really inspect the car because...
Well, I don't care what you didn't do.
Yeah.
I want to know what you did.
Yeah, I told him, it needs to be fixed. And he said he'll get taken care of.
Okay, and?
When I repossessed it, it was still there, as well as more damage.
Okay. Did he talk to you about the dent in the front?
I don't recall that conversation ever happening. There was text messages sent to me about damage to the car. The car had dents and dings all over it when I got the car. I mean, the front bumper even had significant damage to it.
You repossessed the car at the end of August. Where is the car now?
At my house.
What's it doing at your house?
I was just sitting there for the moment.
Well, what's your intention to do with the car?
Give it up in my bankruptcy or repair it and keep it and pay it off.
Who has the title?
The title loan company.
So there was a loan on this car?
Yeah, there was a title loan on it.
Oh, you didn't tell me that. That adds a different wrinkle to this whole thing because you told me you paid cash for the car, so I assume there was not a problem. When did you take out a title loan on the car?
I took out the title loan.
Month and year?
One of them was in December of 21.
Did you know that there was a title loan taken out on this car?
I knew that there was one. I didn't know that there were multiple. I don't know if, but yeah, I did know there was a title loan.
Did you know in what amount?
No, I was never.
Well, that's pretty dumb of you.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, because if you're buying something free and clear that he owes nothing on, that's one thing. How much was the title loan?
Roughly $6,000 is what was owed on it still at that point when he bought it.
How much did you pay off?
A few thousand by that point. It's super high interest.
Okie dokie. Mr. Pickett, your claim against the defendant is dismissed. I'm now entertaining his counterclaim. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You get stuck with this car. Now, problem is, you drove this car.
Yes.
Was it your primary source of driving the car?
Yes, it was.
Okay. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months, right?
Yes.
Okay, so, Mr. Glick, this was your primary vehicle. How much do you think it would cost you to rent a car per month? Per month. Give me a figure.
To rent a car per month, I would say $900 a month, probably something like that, $900,000 a month, maybe.
Okay, based upon what you told me, it's not so egregious because you had the use of the car for 10 months. I actually don't think that an 11-year-old car would cost that much to rent, $900 a month, considering that you also paid for your own insurance.
Correct.
And if you rented a car, that the insurance would, of necessity, come with a car. Sarah, could you look up for me best deals on leasing a Dodge Charger? I don't know what that is. Is that a truck?
It's a car.
Is there a site where you could look that up?
I'll see what I could find.
But the intention was that money was going to go towards, something that I would own.
Well, I understand that,
right.
but you had full use of his property for 10 months.
Sure.
You don't think it's fair for you not to pay for some of that use?
I would think the depreciation in the car for the mileage that I put on it would be more than fair. Absolutely.
Everything depends on how much you put down versus how much you pay monthly, so there's a wide
range. Give me the range. He didn't put anything.
$786 a month, $843 a month, but these are for brand new Dodge Chargers, not for 2012.
Oh,
So.
Okay. And according to you, the current low price on this car is $7,500 price.
For a private party.
For a private party, low price, $7,500.
Yes.
So you're going to resell this car, and the car is currently in working order, and the low price on that car is $7,500, right?
Yes.
And he's already paid you $5,000.
Yes.
In order to break even, if you sold that car, all you need is $2,500.
Correct.
So I think that it's more than fair to give you credit for the $2,500 from what you paid.
Okay.
You paid $5,000. Half of that seems to be a more than reasonable figure to have full use of his property, and he repossessed the car. I don't think he had any basis to repossess the car, which is why he dismissed his case. And you certainly don't want to get involved with bankruptcies and payments, so you don't want this car back, because getting this car back will be more trouble for you than anything else.
Exactly.
I absolutely understand that, because then you're dealing with his creditors and whatever. I'm not trusting that whole situation. In any event, I don't think that you paying $2,500 towards the rental of the car over a 10-month period is unreasonable, and then he's whole. Then if he wants to spend money to have the car spruced up before he sells it, well, maybe he can get $8,500 for it, and then he's whole. So now everybody's happy. Judgment on the counterclaim for $2,500. We're finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This court is adjourned.
I'm very happy.
Need a car, I had a car.
I don't think it was an honest transaction on his part.
I'll keep buying and selling.
So yeah, I think he was just trying to get a quick payday.
Sarah and Judy.
So I just want to make sure I have this right. The defendant was paying the plaintiff $1,000 a month towards the vehicle that the plaintiff had a title loan out on, but instead of paying off the title loan so the defendant would have the car free and clear,
right,
he decided to keep the payments and not pay off the title loan.
Correct. Which means that even after he completed the payments, which he was halfway finished with, he could not have gotten clear title.
Yeah.
Because the title is with the loan company. And he's filed for bankruptcy, so you can't come against him. Slick.
Yeah, sticky situation.
Yeah.
Title, Judy Justice.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv.
It's 1 o'clock in the morning and you're on your way home, and
I seen her like a dog. I swerved.
You go into a house.
She went through 2 walls.
What were you drinking?
2 beers. The dog that I swerved to hit, she seen the dog as well.
This is Judy Justice. Whitney Shepard is suing motorist Rachel Velasquez for property damage.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, everyone.
Kevin.
Hello, Judge. Case 2098, Shepard versus Velasquez.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ms. Velasquez, I'm going to start with you because the case is unusual and the case really starts with you. You were driving your car.
Correct.
And had an accident on the 13th of February of this year.
Right.
Tell me about it.
I was going west on...
You were driving?
I was driving.
First, at what time did this take place on
It
February
happened
13th?
at about 1 a.m.
Where were you coming from?
From my sister's home.
Anybody else in the car with you?
No.
What day of the week was February 13th?
That was on a Saturday.
So you were at some sort of a gathering at your sister's house?
I was at my sister's house, yes.
How many people were at the gathering?
There was just about maybe 10 of us.
And what time had you arrived at your sister's house?
Saturday, mid-morning.
Did you have dinner there?
Yes.
Any alcohol served all day?
Yes.
What kind?
Just a beer.
I wasn't there.
A beer?
My
Beer.
invitation got lost in the mail. What were you drinking?
I had drank 2 beers, but that, again, mind you, it was at the afternoon.
Just a second.
Yes.
So you had 2 beers?
Yes.
Now you get into the car, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and you're on your way home, and see what happened.
Okay.
Traveling from your sister's house, maybe I'll make this easier for you. How far a distance is it from your sister's house to your house?
About 20 minutes.
And how far into the trip did this accident occur?
Like 15 minutes.
And tell me about the accident.
Okay, so I seen it like a dog or something in the street. So as soon as I seen it.
Just a second. So it's 1 o'clock in the morning, you see something in the street. That's what you said.
Okay, well, it was something, but it turned out to be a dog.
So what did you do?
I swerved to not hit the dog.
Swerved to not hit the something.
But it was a dog.
Well, we're going to get to how you know that. So you swerved to avoid hitting the something, and you went into a house. went over a fire hydrant.
The fire hydrant, actually, when I hit the fire hydrant has pushed me into the house.
Fire hydrant, water, and you went into the house. The force of the fire hydrant didn't send you into the house, madam, unless you're telling me that the fire hydrant went and the water was such force that it pushed your car into the house, which I won't believe. Do you understand? So you swerved to avoid something in the road and were clearly going at such a speed that you went right into a house. Did you go through the wall of the house? That's either a yes or a no.
Yes.
And that's what this case is about, because Miss Shepard is a renter in that house. And she says that everything of value that she had was destroyed because of the water and inundation, and your automobile insurance company paid the owner of the house for the damage to the house, but did not compensate Miss Shepard for any of her property that was destroyed. That's what the case is about. Correct. So now this dog becomes sort of interesting. You have a dog?
I do.
Now, you say that you swerved to avoid something that you subsequently said was a dog. Now you're in the house because that's where the car is. I assume that they had to get you out of the car, or did you get out of the car on your own?
Yeah, my car was not in the house, but I was out of the car. I got out by myself.
Do you have photographs of the house?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at them.
Whitney hands photos to Kevin, who brings them to Judy. She reviews them.
Oh, that's pretty much in the house.
Yeah, she went through 2 walls.
Yeah. Do you know how much money your insurance company paid out to the homeowner?
$5,000.
$5,000. Is this your car?
Yes.
And this is where it landed?
Yes.
Okay, now, you got out of the car, and what did you do?
I got out of the car. My sister, she was there too.
What do you mean your sister was there too?
She was following right behind me. Because she's the one who she had seen the dog that I swerved to hit, she's seen the dog as well.
I'm talking to you. You got out of the car and?
I went to walk to get my sister.
And?
And we waited for the ambulance to get there.
For whom?
For me.
What was wrong with you?
I had 3 broken ribs.
Where did you wait for the ambulance?
Right in front of the house.
Now tell me about the dog.
The dog, the car came to a stop, I seen the dog run back into the yard.
Yeah. So you're crashing into the front of the house. Your eyes are in front of you. You're crashing into a house. You take down the whole wall when you crashed into the house. And what you're telling me is you crashed into the house, and out of what kind of vision? You went through a wall. How did your eyes get to the backyard? You swerve. You go into, either you swerve because there's something in the road, or you swerve because you weren't paying attention, or you swerve because the beers that you had were too late in the day, whatever the reason that you swerved. But now you're facing the inside of a house. I want to know at what point you saw a dog run to the backyard.
Well, the car wasn't, I didn't hit head on. It was on the side. It was on the left side, the right side. It was on the right side. So when I hit it, everything went to the right side. I didn't hit it straight on, head forward.
This is your car.
But I did not hit it straight
This is
head
your
on.
car. So you're telling me your car was damaged before?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, I'd like you to tell me, Miss Shepard, I'm sure you have a list of things that were destroyed. You did not have renter's insurance.
I did not.
And what happened when you submitted a claim to Miss Velasquez's insurance company?
Absolutely nothing. They never even got back to me on it.
Okay, I'd like to see proof that your insurance company paid the owner of the house.
I don't have that on me.
You have your insurance card here?
Yes.
Good, I'd like to see it.
Rachel produces a document, then hands it to Kevin. He brings it to Judy, who reviews it.
Did you make a claim?
I did. I did the day on February 14th.
Who owns this car?
I do.
What kind of car were you driving?
It's a 2017 Honda Accord.
Did they pay to have your car fixed?
No.
Did they cover it at all? You had a $500 deductible for collision. Did they pay for your car?
No.
You have medical records?
No, I didn't bring them.
Did the police respond to the location?
Yes.
Were you given a blood alcohol test or a breathalyzer test at the scene?
No.
Do you have a police report?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Whitney hands a document to Kevin. who brings it to Judy. She reviews it.
Okay. Arrived at the scene at 2:30 in the morning. This was determined to be a solo vehicle crash with minor injuries involving an impaired driver. That impaired driver would be you, because she wasn't driving her house. Now, Ms. Velasquez, not good form when the police reports. Do you see the police report? Have you seen the police report?
Yes.
Okay, so you know the police report found that you were impaired at the time of the accident. It also indicates that the police officer immediately after the accident questioned you on a gurney in the hospital. And that was immediately after this happened. I'm going to read what it says. Party 1, Velasquez, was riding her Honda at 55 miles per hour while under the influence. It says at the time of your statement, Party 1, that's you, states she attempted to turn left because she was heading to her mother's house, but did not recall how she crashed. Certainly don't see anything about a dog here, only an impaired driver. Okay, and then later you told this police officer that you admitted drinking 3 beers early at her home. Police officer said he asked you whether you felt the effects of alcohol drinks, to which you replied yes. The officer conducted a limited number of field sobriety tests at the hospital, which Party 1 failed to perform. Party 1's objective signs and symptoms of intoxication, and you were placed under arrest.
No, ma'am.
Yeah, I placed Party 1, that's you, under arrest for DUI.
Caption coming up.
This police officer determined that you were drunk, and this police report has absolutely nothing about a dog causing the accident. It has you saying, I don't know what caused the accident. Yes.
And later today.
I don't understand what the issue is. She paid for the tickets, you did not, but you used the vouchers.
I did.
Well, then she's entitled to be compensated for what she paid. I mean, I don't know, this is not rocket science. Am I missing something here?
Sarah shakes her head. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Whitney and Rachel.
Whitney Shepard claims motorist Rachel Velasquez owes for property and water damage after Rachel's car ran over a fire hydrant and crashed into Whitney's home.
Something just came through my house. My house exploded. I'm stuck in here. I don't know what's going on. There is a car in my house. Oh my God. They hit the fire hydrant. They went through my house. I no longer have a house.
Okay. Did you receive a citation?
No, I did not.
You didn't?
No, ma'am.
Really?
No.
Well, then you want me to assume that when the police officer said that he placed you under arrest, and I can understand why they didn't remove you from the hospital, that you were subsequently given a citation, but you had to receive some sort of citation from the police, madam, unless you have medical records which indicate that the blood that they drew indicated that there was no alcohol in your system, because this police officer determined that you were drunk. And this police report has absolutely nothing about a dog causing the accident. It has you saying, I don't know what caused the accident. Yes. Okay. Ms. Shepard.
Yes.
The defendant is responsible for the damages done to your property. And so I've seen the extent of this damage done to the house. Were you able to stay in the house subsequent to this crash?
No.
Where did you go?
I got relocated to Corona. I'm renting a room in Corona.
And had you been renting the whole house?
Yes, yes.
For how long?
10 years.
And what was your rent on the house?
$7.15 a month.
And in the 10 years that you lived there, you accumulated all your stuff?
Well, that and time before I lived there, but yes.
But for 10 years?
For 10 years,
Were you
yes.
able to take any of your furniture?
I got 3 pieces of furniture, which included my mattress.
That was okay?
It was okay.
Okay.
And I got an armoire that is ruined at the bottom from the water, and a dresser that was ruined from the water.
The rest of the furniture in the house, did it belong to you?
It did.
Okay. So you had a table, chairs, eating?
Table and chairs, no couch. It was a small house, 457 square feet.
What about your clothes?
I have not seen my clothes since the day the accident happened.
Did the water infiltrate the house as a result of the fire hydrant?
Yes. I was trapped in that house for 4.5 hours. Me and my dog were trapped in the house for 4.5 hours. My dog was in bed with me, sleeping.
When you left to rent this room, did you take anything with you?
Well, the night the accident happened, when I was trapped for 4.5 hours, I was hiding because the fire hydrant was throwing big rocks onto the roof, and I thought the whole house was coming down. But I kept coming out and filling a backpack with things my grandchildren had given me and pictures of my grandchildren. I didn't even think to take clothes or anything out.
And you went right there to some place where you were relocated? Or did you
Yeah,
go
I
to
was
a relative's?
relocated immediately. It was red tagged, and it took 68 days to get a yellow tag so I could hire a company.
Do you know how much the landlord got for the damage on this house?
She had insurance, and she's rebuilding right now.
So she had her own insurance?
She had her own insurance, yeah.
Okay. Ms. Velasquez, there's no question in my mind that your mind is fresher at the time of the incident than it is months and months later when you've had a chance to reflect on why an accident is not your fault. You were questioned by police officers immediately after the incident. You responded, actually, to the police officers and told them what happened and told them that you crashed and you didn't know why. The police officers observed your demeanor. They determined that you were operating a vehicle under the influence of alcohol. I don't know whether you have insurance or not. I don't know whether you had insurance on the date of the incident or not. But by your careless and reckless behavior, you've turned this lady's life upside down. She had a little life in a little house where she had all of her property, and you've turned her life totally upside down. She has nothing. And you're responsible for that. So if you had no insurance or if the insurance disclaimed, that would be your problem. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount requested, $10,000. We're finished.
Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Outside the courtroom, Whitney, then Rachel.
I think it was the correct decision, as it really could be the only decision.
I remember seeing the dog run through, but yeah, it was an accident.
I thought my house exploded, and I was in a house that was going to come down with my dog.
Luckily, I didn't hurt anybody.
I think anybody who would drink and drive isn't willing to take responsibility for their actions.
Judy and Sarah.
You know, sometimes you're the windshield and sometimes you're a bug. Sometimes you're both.
As in this case.
That's really a trick. I have no idea what that insurance is.
A lot of fine print, I'm feeling, was probably the issue.
Yeah, but I cannot imagine if it was legitimate insurance, and she had legitimate insurance, except that she's got a $10,000 maximum on any sort of collision. So I don't know what it is. I actually feel sorry for that lady, don't you?
Me too. Everything in 500 square feet in a home that she's built.
But she's comfortable. She was comfortable in that.
No,
Now
exactly.
She has nothing. And I didn't see a whole bunch of remorse there.
Nope, me neither.
Case number 2033, Broussard Farrell versus Stigney. All parties, please step forward.
Tammy Broussard and Catherine Fierro are suing 21-year-old Alicia Stigney for travel vouchers and harassment.
Whose son was it who was living with the defendant?
My son.
Broad strokes, what I get from this. Is that your son?
Yes, ma'am.
Your son became involved, according to you, with the defendant. She has one child with your son and one child with someone else.
Yes, ma'am.
What I gather, there was a time that everybody was happy living together, and I believe it was your brother who was getting married in Las Vegas.
Yes, ma'am.
And the defendant at that time was put in charge of ordering the plane tickets for everyone to go. But the defendant was told to use someone else's credit card. And who was that?
That's Catherine Fierro's.
That was Miss Fierro.
Yes.
Miss Fierro is whom?
I am the fiancée to her brother.
In any event, the wedding did not come off as planned in Las Vegas. Parties did not use the flight tickets that you had booked with someone else's credit card.
Correct.
And you were given travel vouchers, and that's what they're suing for. They want their travel vouchers. That's it. So I just have a few questions. It's not a very difficult case. When you booked the flights for everyone, how many tickets did you book?
It was myself, my 4-year-old. The infant was a lap, so she would not count.
And your boyfriend?
At the time, yes. Rowan.
Yes.
And then it was also Tammy Broussard, her daughter, and that was all.
Whose credit card did you pay for those tickets with?
It was Cap's.
That's you?
Yes.
And did you pay for those tickets?
They were put on my credit card. Yes, they were, Your Honor.
Did you, in fact, pay for them, is my question.
Yes.
I'd like to see proof that you paid for their flights. And if you have the following month's bill as well, did you ever receive a credit for those flights?
No, I did not.
On
I wasn't
your
aware
credit-
what happened until I asked the son, the flight, the airline, to send me this.
I'd like to see it.
There you go.
Because it's still on your credit card.
Yes.
Judy reviews the document.
Okay, so you received vouchers, according to this, that totaled little over $1,000.
Yes.
What did you do with them?
I did use them.
Just a second. You didn't pay for the tickets.
Correct.
So my question is, why didn't you turn the vouchers over to the people who actually paid for the tickets?
Caption coming up.
You booked the tickets but didn't pay for them. Wedding got canceled because of COVID. You got vouchers for what she paid for and you used them without any agreement. What is the issue here? Am I missing something?
Sarah shakes her head. A courthouse. The Judy Justice logo appears. In the courtroom, Tammy, Catherine, and Alicia.
Tammy Broussard and Catherine Fierro claim 21-year-old Alicia Stigney owes for travel vouchers and harassment.
Now, did you discuss the vouchers with her?
I did not meet her until, I believe, early February when we left Las Vegas to go to Minnesota. And shortly after meeting her the day that we got there, she called my fiance. I asked if we could watch the baby.
No.
But we did have a discussion about it, a slight one.
Only a discussion with you. I don't want to hear about any conversation.
Well, I did bring it up.
Well,
to her.
I'd like you to tell me what the discussion was.
When we came to watch her baby for the first time, she went to show me the baby's room where the diapers were, where the wipes are, and she was running around looking for wipes, and I said, I don't want to seem rude, but you do have the vouchers, correct, for the wedding. They were specifically meant for my wedding. And she said she didn't really have time to talk about it, that she was going out for the weekend to Rochester to go out and have fun with her. So she just left very quickly. Then we watched the baby a second time, and I decided to leave a little bit early to get to the house to watch the baby. And when we arrived, she was out the door. So she did not want to talk about
that's sort of speculation.
Yes.
I don't understand what the issue is. She paid for the tickets. You did not, but you used the vouchers.
I did.
Well, then she's entitled to be compensated for what she paid.
Your Honor, she also posted on Facebook trying to sell the tickets.
Well, I mean, I don't know. This is not rocket science. Am I missing something here? You booked the tickets but didn't pay for them. Wedding got canceled because of COVID. You got vouchers for what she paid for and you used them without any agreement. What is the issue here? Am I missing something?
I don't think so.
Would you tell me?
Yes. So back last year, I have the agreement. It was sometime, I think June or July. Tammy moved to Minnesota, or to Austin.
Don't go off on a listen to me.
Her apartment is in my name because she couldn't put it in her name.
Okay, and?
So they said, because later in February, Kat had now moved into Tammy's apartment with Tammy that is in my name.
Okay.
So they, as a thank you, they had said that they did not want the vouchers back, that I could use them. They also said that they would not able to use them before they expired in October of this year.
That is not true, Your Honor.
What do you mean they said? Those are two people.
Yes, Tammy and Kat. I had ran into Kat at Walmart sometime late March, I think it was, after me and the Romaine had broke up.
Whatever his name is, Romaine and I broke up.
Yes.
I'm still trying to figure out why you didn't give her the vouchers when you got them.
We were still together, me and Romaine. We were planning on taking a trip this year.
What difference does it make? Were you supposed to pay for the tickets to Vegas?
No.
Was that your agreement, that somebody else was going to pay for them?
They agreed that they'd pay for them, yes.
Is that right?
To come to the wedding, not to go anywhere else, just
to come to the wedding, but the wedding was canceled.
Yes. Correct. And we did not speak at Walmart about anything about those.
What I have here are two charges, one for $320 and one for $538. Is that what you spent on the tickets?
Yes.
And ma'am, I have something from June 18th on Facebook where she was trying to sell them on Facebook. And I had... I
actually, Ms. Broussard, don't understand why you're here.
I'm here because there's also a harassment. We have a police report regarding that.
Okay.
As well as...
Okay, so with regard to your claim, she owes you $858 for the tickets.
Yes.
So that judgment is taken care of. You can have a seat.
Thank you.
The other part of the claim is for harassment. Do you want to tell me when this harassment started? I assume it was after your son and the defendant terminated their relationship. And if you indicated that you had a police report, I'd like to look at it.
Yes, ma'am. Here is the police report. And actually, the harassment had started.
Just one second.
Judy reviews the document.
As far as this police report you gave me, the only thing that's complained about here, really from your end initially, was the fact that your son's tax money was put in her bank account by mistake.
It was something entirely different because he doesn't have the evidence that he needs with that.
I don't care. I'm just telling you what the document is that you handed me as evidence of harassment. And the document that you handed me as evidence of harassment, the focal point of it is last week his tax return got deposited. Alicia withdrew all the money from the account, and this included $1,500 from the tax return and $1,000 that was in the account. That was the crux of your complaint against her. Well, that's not harassment.
Well, the harassment had started on April 27th, which is like a month after those two had broken up. It was a really nasty thing. I don't know, like it says in there, I don't know if it's coincidental, but she sped through a red or a yellow light, almost hit me once. Her boyfriend had been a total nuisance in my parking lot, blowing the horn.
Listen to me very carefully. If you feel as if you are the subject of harassment, file for a protective order. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. The defendant owes your co-plaintiff $858. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
Alicia.
I was very nice to them, and they just disregarded all of that.
She's very upset because my son no longer dates her.
There was drugs involved where she couldn't get the her apartment of her own.
I pay my own rent, I pay my own bills. I just have bad credit, and it's not even a drug-related thing.
I was nice and put their apartment in my name, and that didn't matter to them.
She's a thief. I mean, those tickets were meant for my wedding, and she used them for something else. It doesn't matter if you're nice or not, you give it back.
Judy and Sarah.
I wish they were all that simple.
Yeah, I mean, from reading the papers, I could tell there was some more conflict than I think we got into. But none of that underlying conflict between any of the parties had anything to do with the facts of the case. That she used someone else's credit card, she received a benefit that she did not pay for, and they were entitled to it.
Easy.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, easy.
Are you a victim of a scam? Go to
In a mix of professionalism and concern. What do we have here? The vet asked, taking the puppy gently from the receptionist's arms. A small puppy I found on the street. It's cold, hungry. I don't think it's been well for long, Mr. Callan replied, watching with bated breath as the vet examined the little creature. The vet nodded, his face serious. We'll do everything we can. Please have a seat in the waiting area. It'll take a few minutes. Mr. Callan nodded, his body feeling heavy with worry. He took a seat in the small waiting area, his eyes fixed on the door that separated him from the clinic's back room. Every minute that passed seemed like an eternity, and he couldn't shake the thought of what might happen to the puppy. He thought back to the night he had found it, the helpless little creature lying on the wet pavement. He couldn't understand how anyone could have abandoned it like that. The dog's small form had been barely more than a shadow in the storm, but he had seen its eyes that were full of fear and confusion. It reminded him of something deep inside him, something he had buried long ago, the need to protect, to care, to help others when they were at their most vulnerable. But this time, it wasn't a person he was saving. It was a small, fragile animal, one that had been left behind by the world, just like so many others. And for the first time in a long while, Mr. Callan felt something stirring inside him, a sense of purpose, a drive to not let this little life slip through his fingers. After what seemed like an eternity, the vet emerged from the back room, a solemn expression on his face. We've managed to stabilize it for now, he said. The puppy is weak, but it should pull through with proper care. It's a good thing you brought it in when you did. Without immediate help, the cold would have been fatal. Mr. Callan exhaled, relief washing over him like a wave. He stood up and approached the vet. What should I do now? He asked, his voice still shaky. You've already done the hardest part, bringing it here. We'll keep it for a few days for observation and treatment. After that, you can take it home. You'll need to make sure it gets plenty of rest, food, and warmth. Mr. Callan nodded, feeling a strange sense of responsibility settling over him. He was going to do whatever it took to make sure this puppy recovered. He didn't know exactly why he felt such an intense connection to it. He hadn't had pets before, hadn't really considered it. But there was something about this little creature that had tugged at his heart, something that made him want to give it everything he could. As the vet spoke more about the puppy's recovery plan, Mr. Callan's thoughts drifted back to that cold, rainy night. He thought about the larger dog that had taken one of the puppies. What had happened to it? Where had it gone, and why had it left the second one behind? The questions hung in his mind like a fog, unresolved and heavy. But for now, it didn't matter. What mattered was that the little puppy, his puppy now, had a chance to survive, and that was all that he could focus on. The next morning, the weather had calmed, but the remnants of the storm still clung to the streets, the rain having left a sheen of wetness on everything it touched. The air smelled of damp earth, fresh and earthy, and the overcast sky cast a muted light across the world. It was the kind of day where everything felt slowed down, as if the world was still recovering from the relentless downpour the night before. Mr. Callan woke early, his mind occupied with thoughts of the puppy. It had been a restless night for him. Sleep had eluded him as he wondered if the small dog was all right. He hadn't been able to shake the worry that had settled deep in his chest, and every moment of silence seemed to echo with the memory of the helpless creature in his arms. He had not expected to form such a bond with it, but here he was, worried for its survival like a parent watching over a sick child. After a quick breakfast, he gathered his things and headed out to the veterinary clinic. The morning air was crisp, but he hardly noticed the cold as he hurried to check on the puppy. The thought of leaving it behind at the clinic was unsettling, but he knew it was necessary for its recovery. As he arrived at the clinic, he was greeted by the receptionist from the previous night, who smiled warmly at him. "Good morning, sir. The puppy is doing well. The vet is finishing up with her examination now." Mr. Callan let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. His fingers itched with impatience, but he nodded and took a seat in the waiting area, his eyes darting to the door that led to the back room. It wasn't long before the vet appeared. His expression was calm, but there was something in his eyes that made Mr. Callan sit up straighter. "I'm glad you're here," the vet said. "We've done all we can for now, but I need to discuss something with you. Follow me, please." Mr. Callan followed the vet into the back room, his heart beginning to race with anxiety. The puppy was lying on a soft blanket in the corner of the room, its eyes closed and its little chest rising and falling in slow, steady breaths. For the first time since he'd found it, Mr. Callan felt some semblance of relief. The puppy was alive, and it looked comfortable, at least for the moment. The vet gestured for him to sit, and Mr. Callan did so, his eyes still on the little creature. "There's something you should know," the vet began, his tone cautious. "When we were examining the puppy, we discovered something